Completely unrelated. So, does anyone remember roughly what happened all that time ago?
You mean last week?
Yes.
Yeah. Staring contest.
Not
Don't
wrong.
count.
We finished up a fight. It ended well for us for the most part. Persia kept trying to get himself killed.
If I was trying to get myself killed, I would be dead.
Whether he does it on purpose or not, he was trying to get himself killed. Slander. Sultalis was getting really sick of it because she's like, "Stop switching places with me, I'm fine." And he insisted, and there's no way for me to counter that.
Which in its own right is hilarious.
Like, I have more hit points than everybody else in the party combined, and it's just like, I'm fine. Anyway,
just keeping ahead of you by like 3.
well, I meant at the time.
Yeah.
I think I had like 40, or I had 35
Oh, yeah,
hit
then
points, and
yeah, by a
everybody
wide
else was at
margin,
like 9.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, so we won the fight, and we spent the next several hours looting the absolute shit out of the place, and we found a lot of good stuff. We found a resurrection box, which Purser and Sultalis and I think Pick all asked not to be put into. We have
giant-sized altar. Yeah.
Yeah, we have 2 of the 3 pieces for an artifact. Seven Soul Sever. We don't know what that is yet, I don't think.
An artifact maneuver. Anyone capable of using Battle Master maneuvers. Once you have all the basically like all the moves from that, you can do that once per level, and it have a very big effect.
So we found a lot of really good stuff. We found a lot of gold and silver and a few copper. So we're rich. Money is very quickly not becoming an issue. Then we kind of something happened, and we basically got the benefits of a long rest without resting.
Temple seemed to like you. Yep.
I think after we closed the portal and cleansed something, it all worked itself out. And then we went back to talk to Mima, and Mima was like, actually, we sent Bemi to talk to
Yeah,
Mima.
I was about to say no one else was there with me.
Because Sultalis was like, she's going to murder me. I don't want to be murdered. So Bemi went to talk to her. She offered to teleport us back and let us keep the mirror, which was very, very kind of her. But we decided to go to Pig's village first so that she could report her success. And then Mima teleported us back to Mishann from there. And I think that's where we ended.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Pick. Only thing I would add is Pick also gave them half of the magical embalming, mortuary, whatever, magical dead people tools that she found. She found 2 sets of them and was very excited to hand over one of them.
And we got to leave them with the alchemical jug.
Yep, with the giant sized
and
alchemical
someone
jug.
had to explain the concept of mayonnaise, and it soothes me. It's
yes, yeah,
it was good.
And did you leave them with the strange mask that you found, or did you keep that for your awesome self?
I kind of want to keep it for my awesome self, but I kind
keep
of
it
want
for your keep it for your awesome self.
Yeah,
it's yours.
That's your right. You guys
find out
looted
what it did. I don't remember what it does.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it lets us see like dead people see.
It basically lets you find the nearest portal to, the plane of dissolution, death. So yeah, like you put it on, everything goes grayscale and kind of translucent looking, and then you can see where would be a good point to go and investigate that fun realm of consuming mist.
So party gold is 24 gold, 30,035 silver, and 1480 copper. I just totaled it.
Thank you very much. Did I? I
Giant
gave you guys.
plate-sized coins.
Look, we're gonna come back with this stuff, and everybody's gonna be like, "All right."
You guys want a Mishann sheet to like keep track of goodies and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will do that.
After today's session, I'll spreadsheet everything. I meant to do it last week and forgot.
You freaks of the sheets.
Look, it's good to keep track of this shit.
Let's
It saved our life in the Fallout game.
That's
Oh my
true.
god, we have stim packs.
see, I'm just giving permissions here.
I distinctly remember that time that I I think it was just Sam and Zach that was there, but we put all the health potions. Well, you guys put all the health potions onto the character sheet of the guy who wasn't there that session.
Yes, yes, I
Uh,
remember that. Fucking absent jackass. Damn it. We're staring down the barrel of a TPK. Everyone's like panicking. Well, we can still get up so and so, and we'll just do like the Jack in the Box effect. All right, I grab a health potion. I don't have any on my sheet. I don't either. Where are they? Oh, right. We gave it to that fucking asshole. Yeah.
Go grab it
Yeah.
from his T-posing corpse.
Yeah.
No,
pretty much.
we
Essentially, he said at that moment, it's like, we don't have any health potions. And as the DM, I'm like, you guys just bought 10. Where the fuck are they?
See, it's easier for the DM to kind of fudge it a little bit if you go, well, is it on the party sheet? Yeah, it is on the party sheet. Okay, then, maybe each of you has one on you right now. Side eye.
I distinctly remember we didn't DM. Fine. All right. Fine. All right. Mishann party stuff. Okay, you should all have it under Mishann information. Huzzah. And you can
Cool.
edit that as necessary. I appreciate anybody who does that because that is like my one limit as a DM is I will not keep track of your loot. But yeah, so Hick was kind enough to tell her people that hey, she cleansed the holy city. Oh, she is the hero of heroes. Lots of excited bug squeaks. Very Ewok village in in Star Wars. And
Cute.
then you guys, I think, did you rest there for the night? I don't know if you did. I don't remember how
I
long
think we
taking.
were just like, we're
Purser didn't
getting.
want to rest there because he didn't want to have his little pod surrounded by moth people watching him sleep
Right,
again.
right, which they were eager to do.
I didn't say that, to be
Oh.
fair.
No, okay, but might have.
If anyone said not to rest there, it definitely wasn't me. I didn't care.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, either way,
I think it's because Mima had the mirror ready.
yes, that's
Yeah.
true. I think yeah, Mima, she had insisted you take the mirror with her, and she told you to just put the mirror down and stand around it. And you all did that feeling kind of silly, and then you all felt like a jerk around your navel, and you were pulled into the mirror, seemingly, with an odd, like just incredibly images of brief images of like strange shapes, just a constant rushing of wind sound, and then all of you, like the world seems to right itself as you find yourselves sort of, we'll say midair, as you're thrown out of a mirror and you hear a panicked yell. Not quite a scream, but definitely panicked. And um, you you see the very surprised, like bordering on hyperventilating, at least initially, Governess Magdalora or Thavar, because you all came out of her bedroom mirror along with a big bang as the mirror that Mimo gave you is ejected out of it on top of you. Like all of you are thrown out into a pile, basically, in the governess's bedroom in her tent. So yeah, you're back in Mishann.
That's good.
Pursue's just gonna like pat himself down and make sure that everything's still there and that like his soul is still intact.
As far as you can tell.
Believe me, I'm telling you, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You're not stuck in the mirror, so
Uh,
you're good.
welcome back. The governess is like definitely in like in a nightgown, looking very confused at your
Sorry.
appearance. Ah,
Apologies, milady.
well, well, if you don't mind, I would like to finish getting ready for bed.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not. We'll talk tomorrow. I start dragging people. Like I don't even know who I grab, but I grab two people and I start dragging them out.
Okay. As long as it's not
Pick.
Pick, she's way strong enough to resist that easily.
Oh no.
As,
Pick is
as
just like magic mirror. Wee puts all her arms up. Night night, and then prances out of the tent.
No.
I'm just gonna keep talking to Bemi as I get dragged out. Like, I have a lot of things to worry about. Okay.
yeah, I believe you. I'm sure you do. Sorry. He turns around. He goes back in the room, opens the door. I said, I forgot this, and he starts dragging the mirror back.
Well,
Pick
did
was
the mirror
already
come with
trying, but
us?
it definitely helps. Yeah, the mirror did. Like it was literally thrown out on top of whoever was like the highest one on the
Okay.
pile. It didn't crack or anything, which is good because that'd be bad luck.
7 years.
I'm sure
So
it'd be a lot more than 7.
No, that's pretty standard.
Oh, and actually, right before I get dragged out the door, I'll like turn to the governess and say, "You should probably cover that up."
No, we're taking it with us.
what? What are you?
She's
No,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
just take out.
yeah, she's really
right.
confused.
It,
And yeah, you guys like leave her tent just in time to see um guard captain Haraglin coming over looking kind of irritated and alarmed. What's going on? I heard the governess's yell.
uh,
Oh, actually, real quick,
Magic mirror.
did
Yeah.
Redemptor come through the mirror with us as well?
You know what? Yes, he did.
Oh god.
So
Oh god.
like
we're gonna be in
Redemptor
so much
literally
trouble.
charges out like in pure I know he's not really a horse, but in like panicked horse fashion, Redemptor drags like half the tent sideways as he runs out.
Oh, I am so sorry. We will help you fix this.
Uh, so yeah, they're not like the governess especially is not thrilled. And the captain is pretty visibly pissed, but yeah, you guys can work on that, no problem. Um, but yeah, after you're done with that, you're allowed back on the streets without like, other than getting a withering glare. You're there have been improvements in the 24 days you've been gone, or no, yeah, 24, I think 24 or 25. Um, but you feel like you can, you know, you're going to be getting a solid block of time. Somehow you instinctively know, and you'll be able to do a lot more. So we're going to do a little bit of a time jump here, time skip.
Mm-hmm.
And first we'll just do level up stuff. Ludger, for the first time since the procedure, we'll call it, you're able to pull off the trick shot that was, I won't say your signature move, but it definitely kind of ended up being a signature move in the last war. 2 quick shots followed by a blow from the bayonet. Um, you're not entirely there yet, but you feel like you're nearly back to your old self in combat ability, if nothing else. Like it's taken a long time for you to kind of get used to things, but something here is you're shaking it off. Uh, Purser, undoubtedly, through the grace of the Silver Flame, um, and Tira Mirren, you can feel that you've reached a new level of arcane power that you can channel. This will allow you to conjure spells with even more power than before. And with careful study of the ancient spell shard, you've uncovered a spell that you've never heard of on Korover. You're not sure who Galder was or why the spell's named after him, but given what it does, the ancient, probably giant wizard must have placed a proper value on comfort. Uh, Many wizards would let this power overtake them, make them arrogant, but that's kind of limited to people without divine guidance. Let
Hmm.
the forces of evil tremble before you.
Damn straight.
Bemmy, you're not sure if it's the new bow or the number of times you nearly died during the trip south and home, but you feel like you're able to really up your rate of fire. Although, the thought that you can do more, even more, is just the pick me up you needed, given how depressing the new bow can be if you keep it out too long. It's hard not to dwell on sad thoughts when you have it. But it is a very nice bow. Um, you think of Mimo every time you're firing. Well, and that horrible memory. Uh, Sotalis, while it was unsettling being in places connected to like the literal realm of death, it was probably encountering that, I guess, vampire that seemed to trigger something in you. The raw malevolence and just unending hunger that radiated out from him encouraged you to really dig deep in case you ever meet something like that again. And through your connection to the light and the hopeful turning of the age, you know that you can not only channel more powerful energies, you can also destroy weaker undead at will. Hopefully, you'll be able to
Woo.
fend him off should you encounter him again. Maybe he'll fall into that category. Who knows? Um, Dick, the trip south was more dangerous than usual. You've traveled across the main island before, but usually you just kind of stayed in the canopy, uh, like the few times you had to land. So it wasn't that risky. Uh, but your friends like walk everywhere and stay close to the ground. So you you're gonna have to get used to being in range of things that usually, want to do the whole kill or eat you. That has encouraged you to really practice something that always seemed a little bit silly before, dodging. It takes a while, but with some help, uh, mostly your friends kind of living and dead, you think you got it down. You're confident that even if something does hit you, you'll be able to move with the hit to avoid taking as much harm, which is good.
Woohoo!
And yeah, that's everybody's leveling up thing here. And we'll go into downtime. This is just stuff I had prepped. If you guys wanted to do more, let me know. But it's only about 2 months. Um, Ludger Strom. It takes nearly the first month, but you're able to finish the Strom family home. A few days later, Hala arrives with Tatia and Klaus in tow. The first arrivals from the Kampfen group step through the portal about the same time. It's Lambert Zeklin, Rika Batcher, Minstecker, and Adra Dinkelwald. Lambert and Rika stayed very functional after the war. Well, Minz has not. There were some close calls with Captain Araglin when they first came through the portal, given that they weren't like openly wearing uniforms, but a lot of their equipment still had Karn sigils on it, which she wasn't super thrilled about. Um, but at this point, or at that point rather, you'd made good enough impression that like you were able to keep them from getting arrested or just thrown back through the portal. Um, Technically, she wouldn't have a good reason to do that, but this is supposed to be a thing for refugees. Um, you think having your own wife and children like here in Mishann helped tremendously, as a lot of the refugees who make up most of the village were more willing to believe that your kids at least would assimilate and become part of the new realm, even if you and probably your squad mates still had some affection for Karnath. You sent them to the ruined temple to the northeast to work on a home base for the unit. Rika was always a whiz with keeping everyone's uh, Korth Atur tactical crossbow, or just Cat C, running smoothly. She brought you something that the unit put money together to buy for you as thanks for not just giving up on everyone. Um, she does uncomfortably mention that Siegfried Schwartz was the one who was able to get Kenneth to give it a, solid enough discount that they could afford it, even with saving up everything. And the whole stats
Yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
with it is,
I
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say I thank them for definitely taking the kind of being willing to eat humble pie on my behalf when it comes to dealing with my fellow company commander during the you know given that the generally cold relationship we have with him.
Yeah,
Um,
there was actually a note
another
with
fa-
it, and here it is. Then go ahead.
okay. I give a chuckle at that. For pretty much like casually just stuffing it in my pocket with little regard.
Fair enough. What were you saying?
Um, one other thing, another thing that I realized having done the maths is my oldest, Tatia, is 11, and I remember is somewhat in the same age category as Sultalas's younger sisters. So that is something I do kind of try to, I won't say arrange play dates, but I would definitely try to introduce her to, you know, my work colleagues' sisters as a way for her to hopefully make new friends right off the bat in this strange new land.
Oh, anything to occupy our youngest sister right now is so appreciated.
Yeah, that's
She's
fair.
bored.
Yeah, yeah, and she has a tendency to wander. So yeah, um, that's yeah. If Satalis is okay with that, I don't see why it wouldn't go well. Um, there might be some stuff from that, but definitely it's a good thing for both kids. Um,
Yeah, I will say Suniker is basically an adult, so she's doing adult things around the colony. The others are we've got 19, 17, 15, and 11, so
yeah,
you know,
the best ages, clearly, all the fun ones.
all the fun.
Uh, but yeah, so Rika does mention that she doesn't have a magical bayonet to go with it, just because they pretty much broke the bank getting this with the discount. But she does think she could craft something if you're willing to um, find some kind of like otherwise magical blade that she can work with. She has some tools. She can at least do a rough cut and just sort of like graft it together. She thinks she can make that work. Um, so
All right. I definitely would appreciate that, but I also definitely lean more towards the idea that that's more important to get the troops situated and all that than worrying about magical gizmos for
Oh
Cat
yeah.
C.
And everybody else has that. It's just the moment she started like she spends a good 20 minutes with you hurrying her, like going through lovingly all of the features. Like this is the newest model. Um it's uh it actually has some points where you can attach something to increase the initial power of the blow. So apparently there's some kind of new model out involving magnets. They're not sure, but um,
Yeah.
they've been working on stuff like that. So she's very excited to go over it with you. But
Um,
yeah, like that's mostly
question.
just her like gushing about, the newest model.
Can you create a handout for me so I can copy and paste like my NPC info so
Yeah, sure.
I have a reference?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, add handout here.
He said Mensa, Rika, and
I have the thing. I'll just put it in here.
yeah.
Unit.
Sorry, everybody else, just trying to
Get it?
like make sense of us.
You're
Good.
fine. I'm eating a cookie.
Good for you. What kind?
Chocolate chip that my husband's grandma made, so it's freaking delicious.
That's
Somehow that's one of those homemade chocolate chips. It's still they still can't get those right, mass produced, which
No,
is
they
probably a
can't.
good thing.
no.
Yeah.
You need grandma magic.
You need grandma
The
magic to go
best you
into
can
it.
come close to is like a bakery, but it can't be like a chain.
Yeah.
Because there's a bakery that makes some delicious chocolate chip cookies. Obviously, it's of course like 90 minutes away from me, so I can't just go get them, but
But it's
There's
an
a
occasional treat.
there's a bakery that's near my apartment. I want to say maybe like 3-4 blocks. It's called Pie Snob, and they make good pie.
I would
They
hope
I
so with a
better.
have
name
pie
like Pie
envy.
Snob.
Yeah, no, it's
Can you see
good.
the Lutger's unit thing there, Scott?
Yes, I'm about to copy and paste.
Gotcha. Okay.
To break away from the cookie topic real quick,
Yeah.
I'm just figuring out the inventory right now. We have giant-sized crystal ball. Is that the magic item crystal ball?
It is a like standard items.
So it's arcane
crystal ball.
focus orb.
It's our arcane focus or divine focus, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's divine, but yeah, arcane focus.
Okay.
And probably curiosity. Worst comes worst. But that actually does pair nicely to Purser Talon in the downtime activities, with you and Siltalis both leading the charge on finishing Mishann's first temple, which will, somewhat annoyingly, be a shared temple between all faiths in the settlement, at least initially. It's actually done within the first month. Um, you also received some mail. During not long after it's finished, one of Satalis' sisters, a young girl named Samara, seems interested in your abilities as a wizard, especially after you conjure your tower next to the new temple. Um, a less pleasant addition to deal with is Archibald Surface. Surface. He's an elderly priest of the Sovereign Host, originally from the Cathedral of the Sovereign Host in Metrol. While he's civil, it's clear that he doesn't like the Silver Flame, or you, for that matter. He's kind of a curmudgeonly old priest who insists on representing the Sovereign Host, so to speak, as far as matters of faith. But
What
he's
did you say his name was?
here. I'll actually just put the image up along with the name.
Thank you.
Yep. Because he is a
Is he
recurring
openly
NPC
mean to
until you kill him.
Purser?
Yes.
It's terrible when bad things happen to good people.
I was gonna say, Pick will do things like carrying her water to drink for the day above him, and then just slip and drop a bunch of water on him and be like, "Sorry, big clumsy," and then just keep going. If he's
Nope.
mean to Purser.
Purser will again just like take it in stride, just kill him with kindness.
Pick doesn't. She's just weird and uncomfortable.
So Samira, okay, Samira does something very strange when all of this happens. She kind of looks up and she pushes Purser, just like she pushes him slightly so he moves, and then she looks up again and she pushes you a little bit more and then waits and it happens. So, and you don't even get a few drops on you. It just she
Really hoping
just
she was
moved
going
you.
to push him in the way of it.
No, Samira doesn't have the baggage that Siltalis has, although Siltalis doesn't really consider it baggage. She just thinks he's like an
awesome
idiot.
hero. Um,
I have a primal magnetism that the
yes,
ladies like.
they absolutely,
Please don't say
absolutely.
that about a 15-year-old.
Listen. Anyways, so yeah, beyond that, Bemi, the work on your treehouse is a bit slower than everyone else's. Mostly because you're like nearly 2 miles outside of Mishann, but that doesn't keep you from finishing it in the allotted time. It just means it's a bit humbler at the moment than like the big log cabins. Although I should clarify that it's usually a mix of stone and like sizable trees as either the foundation or the frame, and then everything else is bamboo. Like that's just so much faster and easier to work with. Most of the buildings are primarily made of basically bamboo, um, which is surprisingly good building material. Um, but you know that you'll be safe from floods and a lot of the monsters that are common in the area, so you got that going for you. And it's a tree house.
Honestly, like treehouse type stand, because I mean, Bemi's job, as far as this place is concerned, it's like, okay, I can go and hunt, I can go and fish, I can go and do all of those things, and this is going to be a perfect little outpost.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I put it where you did the little circle. So, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Satalis, as frustrating as it can be, or as he can be specifically, Purser does seem very good at galvanizing the locals about the temple. Working on it with him, it's finished within that first month. Him
Yeah,
and the locals. That gives you the rest of the time to work on your family home, and it's finished. None of the stuff you guys have is what I would call like a mansion or something you're particularly happy to show around, but it is all of you have what you were working on done.
I
Um,
think Siltalis's biggest priority is making sure that each of them have their own space, so like their own room, if nothing else. Um, because teenagers and also an 11-year-old.
yes, yeah. But the fact that none of your sisters complain about the admittedly rather rustic new accommodations shows how happy they are to be out of the communal blockhouse slash tents. Um, uh, Sunker, is that how you say it? Sunker?
Unakur.
Sunaker, has already managed to gather a decent collection of scrap from her time here and is experimenting with bits of the broken blood glass that she found near, the ruined barracks, the two fully ruined ones. Um, uh, so Tara has been spending time with Habra Karlach, who's taken charge of the Mishann farming. She
Hmm.
isn't very fond of the pigs, chickens, and cattle that were brought through the portal in limited numbers, but she does talk endlessly to you about how interesting some of the native crops are. Um, Samara, as mentioned before, does spend some time around Purser. She finds his magic. She later tells you that it's interesting if overly flashy, and he's a bit of a prig, but she likes him. Um, but it's she does she is getting a little odd in that she's spending time among one of the refugees that came through, or at least fellow living with the refugees, has been taking her through certain things, and she she just tends to act very very know-it-all in the way only a 15-year-old with like borderline prophetic abilities could be, which does get her in a little bit of trouble with some of the other siblings, but nothing too big yet. Um, uh, Sahana often goes out with Sutara in the morning, but ends up wandering off to play with other children, regularly with Ludger's eldest daughter. Um, there's been talk right now of trying to set up a school, but At the moment, everyone's more focused on clearing as much farmland as possible and getting Mishann self-sufficient, at least for food. So it's still kind of left to homeschooling or just, they pick up what they can. Nobody's thrilled about that, but that's sort of where they're at.
Imagine some of the kids are.
Well, yeah, the
So
kids are, but the adults are less so.
Oh, I give the Painless Rest flower samples to. I know her name.
Habra Karlach.
Abra, yeah.
Okay.
I explain what they do and why they're kind of dangerous. Write all of that down because it's important in case you come across it. But yeah, these will be good anesthetic if pain medication, basically.
Okay. Yeah, she's excited about it. Asking you like details about, was there anything special about where they were growing? What could you tell? The soil, that type of thing. And
Yeah.
do you have anything further you want to tell her, or just, any more
I
details you can think of beyond don't
I
let
tell her
beetles
about
settle in them?
yeah, the bugs, the beetles. It's very bad because they will literally eat you and you won't know, so be very careful. Um,
So when you describe like the process there, she starts like kind of talking to herself, wondering how much bone meal she can get because it sounds like they need a lot of it, that type of thing. But yeah, if she can get them going, and manage to keep them free of the bugs that have kind of evolved with them, then um, should go well. That's always good to have painkillers.
yep.
And pick, while it does take some touching up, um, your base, well, your nest home, was the base of it was pretty thoroughly done before you left. And by the end of the first month, you've finished a space that can comfortably hold two of your people, like not so comfortably you would make one of these bigger people.
Okay.
Rainy season here is unpleasant in this little nest that you built. It's like back home in Umber, usually you're kind of spared the worst of the rain by its relative inland location. It just doesn't rain a whole lot there, so it's not to say your nests don't shed water, but it's woven sticks aren't the best for like keeping out monsoon level rains. Um,
Yeah.
Luckily, you're too far west to get hit with the actual monsoons that are frequent on the eastern coast of the island. But the violence of the couple of thunderstorms that hit nearly demolished your nest a few times. Um, Learning how all like it's it's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. But yeah, your nest does kind of get swamped a few times as like heavy winds slam into it and stuff like that. Um, but
Can
yeah,
can
go
we
ahead.
help her with that? Maybe?
It's kind of like there's a knack to it. She like this is not even what Bemi's doing is very different, I would imagine. Like 'cause she's pretty much weaving her home. Um, so as like far as raw manpower, people could try, but pick you'd learn pretty quickly that like these folk may be big, but they're really bad at weaving, at least by your standards. So
Yeah, she just want methods to keep it dry would be the
I
goal.
yeah,
think
yeah,
I think I would pull Suniker in and be like, "Can you figure something out, like, to help flooding part of that?"
I'm sure it might also be motivating because I'm assuming when this happens and she doesn't want to be wet in there, she's just going to go to wherever like one of her
it's dry.
closest teammates is
Yeah,
and just go curl up where they are.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's like
You
Mercer's
have
magically
the porch
conjured
light
house is
on.
nice and dry.
yeah, she'll just go into his house.
Yeah, Sultalis is just sitting there like, so Suniker is not an alchemist, artificer.
Artificer.
She's
Yeah.
like, I know this is not your like specialty. I fully understand that, but you are better at it than most people. Can you figure out how to keep that from happening again?
Yeah, like I like to think the first few times it's pretty startling for everyone because like you went in, you went to bed, you had the porch light on, you hear the storm going, and then like the lights flickering badly outside as if something's like fluttering against it and like something huge is beating against the lamp. But yeah,
I just wake
very
up and see Pick's little face smushed against the window.
Yep, 100%. Wet! Hate it!
um, but yeah, the very quickly, like you're like your sister just goes for the easiest solution, and like really anybody else could come up with this too, but she just says just get a box that's like waterproof, and that's kind of what she recommends doing as far as keeping Pick's stuff dry. She doesn't
Yeah.
have a way to make the like this woven nest more waterproof, just because
Gotta
they're not
weave.
really built with that in mind. Like that's part of why your people made their home where they did is like you don't really get heavy enough weather to need heavy waterproofing. Um, but
Just weave a bunch of banana leaves in there.
yeah, exactly. Like that's normally plenty. That's more than enough. You just weave a bunch of banana leaves in, and that's replace them regular, and it's good. It's just when dealing with like the thunderstorms that this part of the island get, it's that's not quite enough sometimes.
Pick just out there angrily yelling at the weather. Same level of gusto that she yells at other things, like, wrecking my house! Slur of insults.
What if we built a box that she could then build her nest in with a window,
That's called
obviously.
that's
A
called a
window with
house.
like a
That's
well,
called.
we don't want to tell her that because she'll get confused.
I mean, sure. Yeah, you could start
Or
building another
even
treehouse. That's
like
fine.
an awning or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something so that she can have her nest without us being like, you have to live in a house because this is the right way.
I mean, she'd consider it after a few times of her house getting wrecked. She'd like Bemi's treehouse, I'm sure.
I
That's
mean,
fair.
no one's asked me for help.
Why
But
don't we
Pick,
just build an awning and have her then build it like underneath the awning?
That's kind
Yeah,
of where I was going with that, but
that's not bad.
Yeah, I
but if we
mean,
get tropical storms, it rains sideways.
yeah, I was gonna say like that's the issue. It's because if it was just normal rain
I
levels, she'd be fine with the nest. Like that's
you
the
know
thing.
what? I feel like Sultalis is wise enough that this happens and we're talking about it and she suddenly turns to look at Bemi's treehouse, which is still intact and still perfectly fine, and she goes, Bemi!
I'm 2
Yeah.
miles outside the town, but
Yeah? That perception's coming in handy. Come here.
okay. Yeah, what
Gi-
you need?
Give me a few.
We need to pick something like your house so that she can have a house that doesn't fall apart.
Well, to be fair, it's not falling apart. She just gets wet in it. Like it's still sturdy. This is still a good thing. It's just
Okay, so that she
you know,
doesn't get wet.
yeah.
Okay, well, tell you what. I think I might just have something that she might need. So I guess to make it waterproof from the hunting or whatever he's done, he's found some like animal fats and stuff, and he has melted it down and put it onto a canvas sheet.
Love it.
Yeah,
This is
you could
great.
go with a canvas sheet, or there are some parts of the jungle you've seen these big old spiders.
That's
That
true.
webbing is really useful. In fact, you guys know of a certain species of spider that makes really water resistant webbing.
True,
Oh
we ran into
no.
him with the raft a little while ago.
Yeah, you burn their home and chase them away, but they
Yep.
exist. Um, so yeah, I would say like Bemi, like she'd still need another like week of downtime to get this going, but Bemi, give me a survival check to see if you can track down uh another spider nest in the river. Yeah, I would say that's enough. You're able to find one and get a fair amount of webbing from it without getting eaten, which is tricky, but it helps that you're not burning them out this time. You're just kind of like stealing a lot of the web from their makeshift dam. And
I
yeah,
feel how throwing things further away, like higher up in their webs or whatever, so they'll feel the vibrations and go to it. Like, all right, they're over there. Let's take as much as we can here.
Yeah, just like run up with
It'll be
something and
good.
spool it up. But yeah, you're
Yep.
able to get like I would say 2 good branches worth of webbing to just kind of cover Pick's nest with. Pick it like it your nest loses a lot of its coolness. Like back home, this would have been very respectable. Like a nice little summer home. And now you're like they're covering it with webs and tarps and stuff. But
But dry.
but it is dry, you guess. Like but yeah, that
Okay,
helps.
she's just really excited that her friends helped contribute. So it's less an aesthetic thing and more that she's like, look at them, they help. I like it.
There you go.
It
You
can
have a
look like an
dry
absolute
home.
trash fire, and she's just excited because she's like, my friends helped make it, so it is
Doesn't
home.
look that bad. It just looks like before it looked like it could have been a really big like bird nest, and now it's just like there's webbing over the top of it, like half of it's covered with a tarp. It's a little confusing, but yeah.
What the fuck is a roof, guys?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but
I mean, if her
yeah,
other people come to visit, she'll just be like, my friends helped build.
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
And
good.
they'd be excited.
Yeah.
But besides that, when you're not getting flooded out, one of the things you learn about is how these odd people handle their dead. It's kind of an adventure in itself. Um, the hairy priest man who was mean to Purser, he says he speaks for the lords or something. He says that like those who follow his faith bury the bodies of their dead, usually with something like valuable around it to distract like a greedy god or something. You're not paying too much attention, but um, like you're paying attention
Is
to the burial elements, but like when he gets into the religious part, it's confusing.
is this the sovereign host?
Yes.
He is indeed
I
a vassal
I
priest.
I I feel like Kick would have translated that as like he speaks for lords or something.
No,
I'm
I
just
was for my own like
yeah,
clarification.
yeah.
I was just like, how would Sultalis feel about this? And I don't think she would feel any particular type of way.
You've had to your people have had to live around like sovereign host people since you came to Corv. Like
I
that's
just
the dominant faith, so
I wasn't sure if this was like evil, and we were all just kind of like, we kind of have to let it go, but do we?
Purser's
no.
fine with it, and I think that's a pretty good metric.
Yeah. Uh um Purser has said that those of his faith, the purified, are usually buried with like special candles lit around the grave afterwards, and the grave is sprinkled with like silver. Maybe that's why he wanted all that silver. Who knows? Um, and Satalis said that her people like they just burn the bodies, like the Sultar clans. But you know, she also mentioned they weren't like originally from the same place as everyone else, so it must be hard to move all the time like that. Um, and all of them say that there's like a lot more ways that people from Korover handle bodies, but none of them are here right now. So it sounds like when someone does die, there'll be plenty of chances for you to use the new tools you found, which is exciting.
That is exciting. I mean, not for someone to die, but
But there's a
Purser is
body
Ah.
happy to
with
tell her what the Karns do with their bodies.
it's less exciting because there's not much to do for you. Uh, they kind of handle that in house, so to speak. Uh,
yeah, I just
uh,
imagine when that guy starts talking about like the religious aspects of things, Pix just like folds her little arms in front of her and just listens to him with her eyes like vacant.
yeah, I'm imagining like a 10-year-old listening to a
Someone
lecture
talking
about
about tax prep.
dinosaurs. Well,
Yeah.
like a lecture about dinosaurs, so they're excited about the first part. But when it starts
Yeah.
getting into like the sedimentary, like the layers that they find them, like
Big
maybe
carbon
attention
dating
starts to wander.
and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's what I had written for you guys. Other if like I said, if there's any other big things, just let me know. But I think that covers 2 months pretty well for everybody. Um, The technically it's 46 days. There's no dire threats to Mishann, and it's actually the new year. With the new year comes progress. It's the third of Zentir, 999. And for the first time in over a month, it hasn't rained, at least so far. The morning sun promises that today will be stiflingly hot, but the lack of rain means that this is a day to head out and enjoy the newly refurbished streets of Mishann. Just looking around, it's really impressive the level of progress that's been made so far. Even if the governess somehow scraped together the money to hire the Tinkers Guild out from the Southern Cannith branch, the majority of the manpower came from the settlers, of which there are now over 200, with people arriving in droves every month. The last arrival even brought one of Sire's nobility, presumably, that managed to keep a bit of wealth and status after the morning. The young noblewoman is named Zora Sevdrana. She walks by, sparing you all only the most casually disdainful of glances as she heads for the inn. She brought with her a powerful magical item that let her summon a stately home from only a small cube inscribed with magical script. It seems that despite her magical mansion, she still needed food and could regularly be seen at the newly finished inn, the Lucky Moon. And I will put you on the new map. Well, newly modified.
Is it truly baffling the amount of these people that are coming through for pick?
It is
Because
a
they're just
lot. Like
it's just like an endless.
You've seen similar numbers among the clans up north, but like that's like you've seen bigger numbers up north, but that was always crazy to see. Like those were the biggest numbers you've seen, and like nobody here seems wowed by like 200 plus people. Like
And
maybe
they
these
just keep
guys are more
coming.
like the northern. Yeah, like just more of them keep coming. It's wild.
Does she ever ask us about it?
I mean, probably.
Yeah. I
Because
think
she's going to be like,
Sultala
is this
Go ahead.
like your whole village? Like, where are these?
Pick, what is the largest number of people you've seen together?
Big tribes up north. Kind of about this many. Maybe a little more.
If you went to the city state, like there's over 10,000 people there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
City state then.
you know the city where we visited the Meemaw?
Mm-hmm.
That she's now the Meemaw. That city is not big enough to house everyone from the country that I was born in. I think we lost Dan.
I think we lost Dan. She'd just kind of stare, like, well, how many coming here?
Not that many. Not as many as were. She's trying to think of how to explain this in like. It's an explain like I'm 5 because I don't think. It's not that she thinks that Pick is stupid. It's more like I don't
5.
think she understands the scale.
No. It's 5. It's fine.
She says, so people there are people who are greedy and selfish and want things that they don't need. And when they're the leader of the large villages and the cities, they fight with each other. And then the villages and the cities, they fight with each other too. And unfortunately for my home country, we lost very badly. And most of my people are dead. So I don't
Puts
think
her little
very
hands
many.
on her, like, sorry, most of your people are dead.
I am too. Yeah, she takes a minute with that one. But she just
Welcome back.
says, unfortunately, that's
I'm back.
why we're here. Is our country is not ours anymore. And this was a compromise so that we'd have a place of our own again. So I don't know how many more are going to come.
Are they better? Are they good at sharing, or would they fight? Here.
I hope that we're better. I will do everything in my power to make sure we stay better. I don't want to go through that again.
Hopefully they are nice.
Do you have parents?
Yeah.
Are
I
they
born in a
around?
clutch.
Oh. Ha-
Yes.
I think that leads to a
village.
whole nother conversation. Like, how does child rearing with your people work?
I think the
But
children are probably communally raised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have clutches and then communally raised.
yeah, she
But
would
they know like
explain.
kind of what they spawn because like they met her friend and her friend is like, these are some of my clutch. I made these. They are 1 year.
Sorry. She had explained that yeah, like she basically explains that we don't raise children that way. At least most of our culture does not. Um, we're raised directly by our parents, and you know, I can't speak to what Purser's parents are or Luker's, but mine are gone because of the war. So I really am going to do everything I can to make sure that we don't have another one here.
That is good. I am sorry you lost your parents. Are they also made from your parents? Points in the general direction of. Are they the
Uh,
same clutch? They are smaller.
So, are you talking about her sisters?
Yeah, the sisters pointing in the direction of her
Yes.
tent.
Yes. They are all from the same parents.
I feel like honestly this kind of works that you two are discussing this because Pix Nest and the Sendar home are like way the fuck away from everything else. So this is as you guys are walking into the village, the half a mile walk into town.
Look, we did that on
Yeah.
purpose.
I know,
Privacy is important.
Absolutely. That's why I followed the, wherever people put stuff down, I tried to, make that work.
I
But this
say
is,
I was just say, imagine if anything, it's a case where like on his way over to his little setting up the outpost, Ludger probably drops off Tatya and Klaus and like
yeah,
picks him up
yeah.
when he heads home for the day.
It's one of those moments of like Siltalis comes out and she's like, I have more children than when I went to bed.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine.
What is it? The second Harry Potter thing where like the Weasley father sits down, to
He's
breakfast and
counts the
just
children and
yeah. And who are you? Like this. Um, but yeah, we'll say just so you guys have like, something on the docket for today. A reason for everybody to get together is that huge silver necklace. If you were interested in selling it, Nat of Nat's shop swore that she had a buyer who was very interested and was going to give you top coin for it.
Pick would just definitely go to Satalis or Purser to say like she doesn't understand. She still doesn't really care or understand about money a lot, so she would just be like, I just kept because it was neat, shiny, decoration. They give money you need and offer it to them like you can sell.
if someone's willing to buy it, it probably would be for the best to get that
Unless
taken
you want
care
to
of.
put on dead body. Probably good.
No,
Lots of silver.
it might be good for Oh, that is something that we should probably warn the governess about. You know, all of the Baba Yaga, who's not really Baba Yaga, but it's the first
Yeah.
thing that popped in my head. The vampire, you know, all of that good stuff.
I
Did
think
we
we
tell them
would have had
about
a
the demon that
briefing
we
with her.
released?
She knew about that. We were honest.
Yeah, that was before we left the last time and went on more
Yeah,
cosmic horror
it's
adventures.
been 2 months. If you guys wanted to, you could easily say at any point in that, like, you could have filled her or at least the captain in, and the captain would pass it on to her that, hey, the island is spoopy.
Boopy.
But yeah, that's a good point and probably a good thing to mention to them. Do you mention
Simply and
mirrors specifically?
Oh yes.
Okay.
yeah, we do have to warn them. Like, I'm sure Bemmy keeps the mirror in his house, so we don't have to like be quiet about it too much. Maybe I
Yeah.
don't know.
While meeting with the governess, Purser will push to have like all unnecessary mirrors covered or removed entirely.
Okay. Yeah, give me a persuasion
And
check
she
with
watched us
advantage.
come out of a mirror.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, give me a persuasion check with advantage. It's not a high check. She's willing to believe it. It's just that's so inconvenient.
It is. 7.
It was 5.
Oh.
So yeah, she like very reluctantly she sends out that, and like you're not sure how much it's getting enforced, but at least she does kind of cover her bedroom mirror when she's not using it. She really doesn't like it. Like you get the feeling this was already sacrificing a lot to live in a tent until the governor's building was finished.
Yeah.
She is old nobility. But yeah, the order goes out with no explanation, so a lot of people just kind of think it's insane. But yeah, so that ironically, like you guys do have some Volkur tribal drow drop by occasionally, and they have no issue explaining like, yeah, we never use anything mirror like if we can help it. It's dangerous as hell. But they mostly drop by to see like a mix of curiosity and see if you guys really are trading like valuable stuff for like common as dirt pelts and things like that. So, um, but yeah, that's viable. And if, like I said, if it's up to you, pick ultimately, because if I remember correctly, you were the one who like jammed your little moth self into a drain to get it. But
Yeah.
um,
She would give it to them to sell because she doesn't understand. Like she'd be like, It was fun to look at in the house for a while, but now not so exciting.
What if we
yeah,
kept one link? It's not like they need the whole chain.
I keep one. Good idea. A hangover door. Very fancy.
yeah, you could do that. I mean, that might affect resale value, but yeah, that's absolutely it.
Oh,
It is
please.
listen. If you're buying this, you're not buying like somebody would buy this for collection's sake. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
this is
Sharn collectors.
Well,
yeah.
I'm sorry, it didn't come in the original packaging, so
Listen, that is the
Well,
level of obnoxious you're gonna face when you deal with collectors of
yeah,
this.
these people are more along the lines of like Victorian collectors, where they don't care about the context or anything. It's just
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
curiosities.
That's a big element of this. Literally, that's why Moorgrave University has a mixed reputation, we'll say, in academic circles, because like most of their expeditions are funded by the looting of fucking giant tombs.
Mm-hmm.
So
They do have actuologists, and they are few and far between.
yeah. But anyways, yeah. So if you give that to Nat to send through her sources, she can get you a cold 1,000 gold for it. If now it did take her a little while to set some things up, but yeah, 1,000 gold added to party funds, or just to Pix if you want to just give it all to her,
We
or
offer
however
it
you
to
want to split
her
it.
and see how she reacts, because I have a feeling she'd be like, "What do?"
Yeah, pick it. Anytime they've gotten money or offered to split it, she's like, you keep. Like she doesn't. She's like, these are heavy. They make no sense. I can't do it. Like buying it once she's shown that it's interesting, she'll probably want to keep like less than 5, like whatever the basic silver things are, because she's excited she can buy stuff in town. Like people that sell food or
Yeah,
basic
like
little
you give them
trinkets that
these
she can
little
put her.
discs and they give you valuable shit like food. Like they just give it to you. It's wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like
They're
her
not
most
even
excitement.
shiny.
Yeah, they're
yeah,
not even
yeah.
that shiny. They're just boring, weird
But
discs.
I would imagine someone would explain to her at some point that she could trade these round coin things for like lamps and stuff in town.
Ooh, she might get a lot
That's
of.
true.
She might use some of her money for trinkets and things that glow. That's
You
pretty
can buy an
much.
ever bright lantern. That's what it says. Exactly what it says on the tin. Like it's a magically powered ever bright lantern. So you can
Yeah,
just
she'd at
hang.
least. She's definitely
Just
going to
im-
have one of those.
just imagining like after a month or so, Pick's like house or little nest thing is just surrounded by lanterns.
It looks like that person that went psycho for Christmas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Or when you're deep in the country and you drive by, like it's miles of darkness except for the one spot where people put up like a landing strip worth of Christmas lights.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, once she figures that out, she'd care about keeping some money, but mostly for buying snacks and then literally the weirdest little like touristy trinkets because she would want to put them in her house because they're neat.
Yeah.
You know those like
That's
little turtles that like heads
No,
bob
I
and stuff
I
like
know
that?
exactly what you mean. Yeah, no, that's inspiration, point of inspiration. That's exactly like in a weird enough thing that is usually how native cultures go for, like that's what they go for because it's like it has obvious value. It's not to say that they like their own art is usually pretty good, the native art, but it's just like when they fall into consumer stuff, they go for the kitschy like the most over
Tchotchkes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it's
Yep, it's
so
neat beads, it's shiny stuff, it's like it's
because that's
just cool
cool
little things. Yeah, that's
that you
cool
I
can't
stuff.
find in nature. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would like to point out, as an anthropologist, that is a vastly reductive oversimplification.
I mean, it's D&D, but yeah, that's a valid point. That's that I agree with you. It's just kind of, games built on vastly reductive oversimplifications. But I agree. Anyways, so yeah, going into
So
Nat's
she'll keep
shop
some
for
of it,
this.
but
Yeah.
otherwise
Uh
it's everybody else's.
no. I if you guys want to split it down the middle or well, evenly,
Well, I
it's
legitimately
200
just
per person. Yeah.
I generally just to keep everybody's life easier, I always recommend we just put a bunch of money in party loot, and then when people need things, just take it out of party loot. It's easier that way.
Yeah, however you
Full
want to do it.
support.
I know where to find you all, so it's fine.
Okay. Um, but yeah, like going in to basically pick up the money because you got word that hey, sold for 1,000 gold. Bell rings as you push open the door to Nat's shop. Um, named by its owner, Nat. The interior of the store looks like a cross between a warehouse and a junk shop. Um, at the very back is a counter that looks to be kind of empty. And you hear a small squeaky voice from above you. Oh, hello, yes, hello. Are you here for coins? For your coins, Jen? Yes.
Yeah.
And like, you can't really see anyone talking. But you're
Are you
right.
okay?
No, it was yeah. I don't. It just
Uh,
got me. That's all.
looking around, you quickly spot a small green, half-covered face and one arm sticking out from the bottom of the netting that covers the ceiling. It looks like Nat has gotten herself stuck under some of her merchandise.
Uh, do you need help?
Yes, if you could help Nat get down then. She's been stuck up here since before sun came up.
Ooh.
Is
I
Nat?
help.
What is Nat?
Nat is a little goblin woman.
Okay. Yep, we help. I help.
Help.
Ducks, you need rope?
She
She
mostly.
she she looks like she's covered in stuff as I
So
am helping her take the
you,
stuff off.
you know how like how some places go for like a nautical theme and put like rope on the rope nets on the ceiling and stuff. Or just me. Okay. Well, there are some places that do that, and Nat had taken to storing like boxes of things or just like storing stuff up there. But she apparently went up and started trying to get things out, and they shifted around, and like she's been squished against this rope up in the ceiling for a while. So she's very grateful for the help, and let's see here, where is it? I have an image for Nat. By the way, there's an uncomfortable amount of goblin waifu art that I had to sort through and find a like.
I'm aware. Do you know how hard I had to look for non-porn mermaid pictures to get a full family of non-porn mermaids for Dan's game? It was a lot. I see you, Scott. I see you.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that's such a thing, but for some reason, monster girls are in. Which got nothing against it, but it does make finding non-creepy images tricky. There, this Mishann. Nat.
There's no winning.
Game images. Mishann. There it is. Okay. I want to rip with the name. Anyways, yeah, so you're able to help Nat get down. It's not exactly tricky, but she does kind of like stretch and groan a little bit when she goes, "Ah, it's better." Nat's slept in worse places, but she was not, she was worried people were going to steal it, sneak in and steal things, and Nat couldn't do anything. Nat already threw both her shoes at a cat that came in.
There's a cat?
No, it ran off after the shoes.
Oh. We'll have to see if we can find it.
You want a
Oh,
cat?
but
I
Nat
love
will
cats.
Nat will get you coins. She put them in the back. And Nat like scampers over, grabbing one of her shoes at the like while she does sliding it on, hopping, um, and gets a sizable bag of coins and hands them over with a big toothy grin. Do you want to spend any of the new shinies on Nat stuff? Lots of it is good, and the stuff that isn't is cheap.
Yes. And begins to sort through, or begins to look around.
Yeah. Anything in the player's handbook as far as like standard stuff you can find in here. You have a place to spend coins. Oh, and you can trade out. You can swap coinage out for trade goods, which is just a 1 gold piece gets you 2 trade goods, which is like small box of screws type of thing or whatever. Stuff that you can trade to the natives in exchange for stuff, basically. Or I shouldn't say natives, specifically the southern tribes. The northern clans might not be as impressed by nuts and bolts. This is
I
a
don't feel like
lamp.
a
Going to
disguise
gut you.
kit will. I'm going to gut you. I don't
Yeah.
think a disguise kit would work for me. I'm people.
You could. I would, you know what? I wouldn't even require a higher check. It's just there's an element of like suspension of disbelief, or as they like look around, like, what's wrong with your child? Very, born that way. I guess you just have to
We
like,
live next. We live next to a magic factory. These things happen.
They didn't come out right.
house cams really. It's there needs to be some restrictions on the Korth edicts. But
You're not
yeah.
wrong.
But yeah, you guys walk out of Nat's shop, richer in coin and whatever else you want to purchase. Yep.
I was going to say Ludger would spend about 30 gold pieces of his share, getting a gift for his wife, as well as 2 gifts for each of his children. for a total of 50 gold pieces worth.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh my
I
god,
think
bagpipes.
I think I would buy. I'm sure. I'm sure. Oh my god, Samira needs a spell book, which I will get for her, and um, a notebook for Satara because herbalism, and then I'll open a 50 gold tab for Suniker to buy any of her tinkering stuff, and then Sahana will get something as well. I haven't decided what though. Just something that she would like. Since
Okay.
we now have a general store, this is great.
Yeah, you do. It's Nat's shop. It was originally going to be Nat's stuff, but there was some. They had
The
to kind of talk her
trademark
down from
issues.
that. Yeah, well, and it was also so Nat. You all would have heard the story when she kind of came in. She was not like anyone who was supposed to come here originally. She was a like escaped slave basically from the more remote parts of Dargan, who hopped in the back of one of the colonists' like wagons and just hid in it
We
until
love that.
until you got through here. And
I love her.
when she got out, like they pretty much the guard captain didn't really care, and doesn't like Dargan as it is, so they weren't gonna like send an escaped slave back. Uh, so originally she was just kind of helping out, but she has a knack for acquiring things, we'll say. So they just put her. They didn't have anyone else who wanted to run a general goods store, so they just kind of put her in charge of it, so she could put her talents to better use in acquiring things for the town. So
Now, is that tactically acquiring or acquiring?
it's goblin acquiring is it's
The answer to your question is just
So,
yes.
tactically acquiring. Got it.
yeah. She doesn't tend to steal from the villagers like that. That was pretty quick because she was pretty happy they brought her in, but she does tend to just pick up things. Um, but yeah, as you guys leave Nat's shop, you spot some sort of scuffle going on. One of Ludger's old unit, a woman named Adra Duncanwald, is struggling with someone. A heavily cloaked man who is having some kind of fit and is like nearly almost throwing her off. He yells, "We're surrounded! Fix bayonets!" As he's just like, he sounds out of his mind as Adra is desperately trying to calm him down. Decker,
Pick
you
Wolfiah.
ass! Not here, for the love of all the sovereigns, not here! As she's just like trying
Uh,
to grab him.
Ludger immediately rushes over, uh, manifesting as much military bearing as he can do from back in the old days before turning directly to the cloaked figure and in a very I won't say commanding voice, but business-like voice, report in, soldier.
Yeah, he just got, that's, uh, sirens ever, sirens everywhere! They're all around us!
With that, I give him a firm hand on the shoulder. Good job, soldier. Your scouting has been excellent as always. We will, you know, with this information, we will come up with a plan of action. Go get yourself, you know, basically go get yourself a bit of grog and, take a rest, and we'll come up with a plan of action later. Uh, then I turn to the, the person that was wrestling. Make sure the soldier gets basically taken care of.
Okay. Um, Give me a persuasion check with advantage, just to like, he'll listen to you, but basically how much he's gonna kind of come back to himself, because uh, Decker is not doing well. Yeah, it's he kind of seems to like he he's still murmuring to himself, but he definitely seems to realize more of where he is, and is perfectly willing to basically be like led to the shop where um, the woman with him, Adra, is like just she just kind of sits him down and like gets out a cloth and just wipes her forehead. You see her hands prosthetic. They, thanks, thanks, Hetman. It's been much better since we set up the base next to that fountain, but it it wears off really quick. Um, even the trip here to get supplies. Is there any way to make it like stronger or something?
Not that I'm aware of. That's what we're trying to figure out. That's why we're all here. But good
All right.
job keeping things in hand. Yeah, that bought me, thanks to you, we weren't able to, it didn't become a major incident.
Right. Um, can you watch him for a minute? I'm gonna pick up the. We just had to come into town to pick some things up,
Of course.
and yeah, she goes in, picks up the purchase from Nat, which is just it's basic building stuff, loads it onto a simple cart, and has Decker help her haul them onto the road heading east.
Okay. At that point, I pretty much sieve them out of town to make sure everything's well and settled, just to make sure that, well, basically that everything's in hand.
Yeah, you like whatever episode he had seems to have quieted pretty quickly when you talked with him. But yeah, what else do you guys want to do in town? Still pretty
I
early in
would
the day.
like to talk to Lidger about that. Um, I think at this point in Eberron, we'd still be calling it shell shock.
Oh, it's far worse than that.
There's that too. It's a couple things all
Uh,
at once.
it's, shell shock, and let's say the experimental medicine has left some of the boys a little bit more shaky than they should be.
Have they been treated by not experimental healing?
Uh, that's why they're here.
You can't expect a Carnathi to do things reasonably.
Purser, that is remarkably close-minded of you.
Ha- have you ever been to Carnath?
No.
Have
Well, I
you
rest
met?
my case.
Have you met Poisa? Uh,
I'm trying to give him a hard time, and none of you are helping me with this. Anyway,
oh, well,
I
I'm just pointing out the obvious. That's all.
I have some training in actual medicine that isn't experimental. If they're comfortable, I would be happy to examine them.
I would be happy to do that as well. Besides the fountain, which seems to have a stabilizing effect, the weekly sermons of Sovereign Host, and ironically enough, for one of the lads, Silver Flame stuff, seems to help calm them down a lot of that. And I try to talk with my boys as much as I can to try to you know I find that talking about the old days and telling them, what we saw, and that seems to help as well.
By the way,
Well,
to build on that a little bit, Purser, it was a weird moment, but one of one of Ludger's men does visit you semi-regularly. Emmerich Riston, who just arrived last week. Um, he apparently is pretty devout, purified. Like has a well folded like little thing of the story of uh, Tira. Like that's it was a little weird. I mean, you know that there's some purified in in
Hmm.
Karnaf, but
Yeah, there's some
like
everywhere. It's just
it was weird to meet
Uh,
one.
I will say, as an addendum to that, every single time Emmerich Riston ever goes into town, like the entire squad of guys from Moodier's old unit are close in tow,
Oh no.
keeping an eye on him because if he has an episode, it literally takes all of us to wrestle him to the ground.
Yeah, he's a big boy. That's fair. Yeah,
well, luckily Purser has magic for that.
exactly. Yeah, it's but it I mean, I doubt this changed Mercer's opinions about it, but it is odd that even one of them is,
Yeah,
devoted.
Purser doesn't have any problems with individuals. It's the mistreatment and distrust of the Karnathi government that he
And
hates.
yet
I
he's
mean, it's
shitting on
justified. I get it.
Ludger.
Ludger's an undead.
Is he?
He's not a person anymore.
So,
He
strictly
sounds
speaking,
like a
Hey.
person.
so is Ludger's man there. That helps. So far, like out of character, all but one of the people who've come through in Ludger's old unit are similarly
Yeah,
afflicted.
but they look and act almost exactly like people, and it's hard to
They
tell,
do.
right?
Oh
So,
yeah, like they
until
just
Purser specifically knows, he will treat them like people.
I'm guessing they're
okay, that's fair.
mechanically reborn. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, somewhere between Warforged and Reborn. Yeah. House Kenneth was doing some interesting things near the end of the war.
Look,
Mhm.
Shayla doesn't know quite that much yet, and I'm sure she'll be horrified once she figures it out.
Hey, on the upside, you've met Siegfried.
So
Oh,
actually,
great.
I just remember. So the Dread Metrol sourcebook refers to them as reconstructed.
I've been saying Necroforged, but yeah.
In any case,
No, I remember yeah, I actually, that was one of
Mhm.
the things I looked at. I was like, I like that, and I talked it over with Scott, um, but yeah, anyways, um,
So yeah, Purser's happy to help them with their struggles and tribulations, and it's not limited to just the purified or even just the vassals. It's he wants to help people and get people to like him conspicuously.
yeah, let's see. Hey, I mean, who doesn't, right? Uh,
Well, people who aren't ordered to be here for one.
listen, he could just be really, you could just really want people to like. Let's see.
In any case,
Yes.
there was something I forgot to mention in that first recap, is that I have this like book of transcribed notes from the spell shard, and I want to work with Rosalind on deciphering stuff
Okay.
as part of the studies.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think Percy is one of the people who has like the most downtime because once the church is done, you don't need to build your home. You just snap
Yeah,
your fingers.
just
Uh,
yep.
what? Let's see here. It would be the journal. Um, and what are you trying to um get out of this exactly? Like note
Not
wise,
really
just
anything focused, just taking stock, figuring out what is there, maybe recovering any, I don't know, corrupted data, or at least,
there's a lot. Yeah, that's fair.
right,
Okay.
just a
Um,
general, inventory.
let's see. Give me a history check with advantage, and we'll see if you're able to get some more out of that.
Okay.
Okay. With a
19.
with a 19, pick um
And
let's
actually, I could
say
use guidance on myself before that. Keep it
hey,
up
yeah,
on myself.
that gets you to 20. Um with at least a 20, I would
Yes.
say pick either um 2 first level spells, 1 second level spell, or 1 third level spell of your choice. As long as it's not like, I don't know, homebrew I win or something. Something along those lines, and yeah, you find you're able to dig it out of the records, and that's a spell you have access to.
So you
to
said two
copy
first
in.
level or a second or third?
Yeah, or a second or a third. Yep.
Okay.
Whichever sounds more fun.
Hmm. Specifically
Spell.
wizard spells?
Yeah, I would say wizard spells. Wizard or artificer, I guess. Both of those would definitely be in the wheelhouse. But yeah, what do you guys want to do around town? You could just kind of look around the newly built place, see anything. Um, yeah. Oh, and I almost forgot.
Uh,
Sorry for like specifically metal weapons and armor. You would want to go to Lesho Metalworking rather than that shop because she carries everything but that. But it's still the same thing as for like it doesn't change you getting it. It's still the same cost. Sorry, go ahead, Scott.
I was gonna say I do spend in terms of I do go on my way to buy 100 crossbow bolts just because
That's fair. Yeah.
I use a lot of them, and I will be using even more with my extra attack. So, and I
Yeah.
remember the last time we were out and about, I nearly ran out. So,
Yeah, that's fair. Um, yeah, even with the whole collect half of what you shoot, you can go dry. Fair enough. Does anybody else have anything they want to get from that shop before you
Uh,
officially depart?
Purser does need to buy some armor.
Well, there you go. I'm assuming heavy plate or like you're paladin, right?
I wish I had that kind of money. It'll be just scale mail for now.
Scale mail. Okay.
Are you
Um,
sure it's heavy?
listen,
What?
he's a paladin. Um, yeah.
I can wear armor.
Yeah. Yeah, you can definitely get it from Lesho. Um, she's a she's a strong human woman. Red hair, just kind of always in her always in there working. She doesn't, if I remember correctly, she was kind of the one who told you to fuck off, but she is willing to sell to you, but
Yeah.
you won't get any discounts, but she's not upcharging you.
And I'm willing for it to be a low priority order. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
it's
she
not the end
she
of the
gets
world
it
if
for you, but it's like glaring at you as she puts it on the counter.
it's.
She personally lost some family in the war, some
so
issues with Thrain. Um,
there's an engraved middle finger on the inside of the.
yeah, it's amazing how quick she did it. But yeah, either way, you're able to get that, no problem. And yeah, did anything anywhere in particular call into you guys?
um,
Can you post how much the trade goods thing was again?
Trade goods are 1 gold gets you 2 trade goods. So,
Uh, just something for
yeah, I'll put it in.
yeah. Because I will say, with the rest of Ludger's money, it would be after the initial gift. He would, I'd say, give a good chunk, like 50 gold pieces of it, to his wife to basically do what for like
Household stuff. Yeah, yeah,
household
that'll
stuff.
yeah.
You would keep about 50 of it just in case he needs additional stuff for adventuring, or probably a bit more. And he would also start investing a significant amount of money into trade goods, specifically to help have a firm kind of hand or finger in the pie, as you will, for the trading that we're, basically the trade network we're starting to establish between the southern tribes and Mishann. So
Okay, yeah, that's
I'm
fair.
willing to spend, I'm going to say 50 gold pieces of my share to basically, get 100 trade goods for basically to be a significant part of whatever the first major thing to try to get my foot in the door.
Okay, Well, right now there's not like trade caravans aren't an active thing yet, but if you buy it, it's just you have a crate of like, nuts and bolts, iron hammers, like, just miscellaneous stuff that would be valuable to the Southern
Yeah,
tribes. But
I think probably the best way to describe it is I'm spending 50 gold pieces now to invest for like returns, like probably after the next time skip or whatever.
okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Just make
I
note
think
of
that's
that on your
probably
sheet, and we're good.
I think that's probably the best way of doing that to avoid getting too much into the weeds.
I Are there any other Kalashtar coming in, or are we the only ones right now?
There haven't been any more yet. Although you did hear news that there have been surprisingly, Dargan like was willing to set aside free housing for Kalashtar in the capital, which was odd. Apparently, the High Warlord there made some kind of deal with somebody. It was weird, but there were some people moving there. Some cousin of a friend of a thing type thing. You did hear so, and that's relatively close to the gate, so there could be some people coming and going, or just coming from that direction. It
Was that
it happened
something
about
that
the
the
same
other
time the
party
lightning rail
did?
got put in. Yes,
Was
yeah,
it
that was one of the
okay?
things Selena she asked that was her favor, was that like the Lesh permanently, allow her people shelter there if they needed it, and he was good
Oh,
on his word.
okay. It just sounds so bizarre. It's like, what a weird.
A goblin
Okay,
warlord putting like area aside for these like
for
strange
a bunch of
foreign humanoids.
Kalashtar.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, so
Um, I think
there's that.
other than Kalashtar, I did read that there are some people who do the Path of Light. Is there anyone here who
It's
um
largely found in, I believe it's Adar. Is the
yeah,
um,
that's what I read.
yeah, that's the main. It's a foreign faith. Heavy focus on meditation, action through greater nonviolent goals. It has gotten some followers in Grover, I would say, but largely urban areas where there's a Kalashtar population kind of seeded. Um, it just hasn't left the homeland, so to speak, very much.
That's
But
fine. I was just curious.
no, it's a fair thing to ask. But I will say, as you guys head to the Strom home with Ludger's handful of coins to give to the family, um, you guys are going through the tents for the new arrivals because they can't get a home set up for everyone, even with the speed that they've been building. You see, situated away from the rest of the tents is a vaguely smoky, like it's technically a tent, but it could almost be 2 stories. It's very tall, like red and gray, very strikingly bright. And stepping out of it, um, like not quite ignoring, but tolerantly, just like not paying too much attention to um, Samara, is the elven man named Oust. Um, he arrived while you guys were on the southern half of the island. Apparently, mostly you got all this from your sister. He's a fortune teller and claims to be able to discern parts of the prophecy. Doesn't explain much beyond that. Um, there have been some complaints about him, mostly the fortunes he gives people. Um, but there has been kind of a grudging respect has grown for him, since he hasn't really been wrong. He just doesn't answer most of what people ask him. He's a fortune teller who you're not sure how he's making a living because it's definitely not through the number of people he takes. Um, he just doesn't answer a lot of questions asked. Apparently, he came here from Sharn, claiming he was drawn here by fate or something. But yeah, Samara has definitely taken a shine to the odd man regularly. She's visiting him right now, kind of pestering him, asking him something. she would say, I guess she would say, like, probably she'd be pestering him about how the marks could be different if they're all the same. And yeah, Oust like kind of spots you guys and makes a beeline for you and says, "You are this one's elder sibling." Like no introduction. That's just how he says hello.
Yes. Uh, I look at her like normally you would ask the adult if she is she bothered. No, she looks at her. Is he bothering you?
Well, he won't answer. Like most of what I ask him, he's not answering. It's really annoying.
Yes, it is really annoying. She kind of stares because I'm sure she does the same thing.
Yeah. Um, she completely misses that in a way that only a 15-year-old can. Um, and A- Oust, for his part, as if he didn't hear any of this, just says, "I wanted to apologize for trouble that may have been caused given my influence on this one here." And he just hands you a book.
Um, what is is he like influence on her on the 15-year-old?
Apparently, he's not explaining himself very well. This is just strange elven man with like smoked glasses walks up to you, says like two sentences, and hands you a book.
What is the I look down at the book like what is it?
I will send you the thing here. It's not magical. It's just the book.
God, this guy.
And I'll send you the thing.
What the hell is this?
One sec.
Oh, I would know what this is, wouldn't I?
Yeah. There you go. He hands that to you and nods to the rest of the group. His gaze lingering on Purser for a moment before he turns and continues on wherever he was going, with your sister like not having lost interest in badgering him, still following after.
Is this a rare book?
It's not a common printing. It was trendy about 50 years ago in Sharn, but it's not super like big. It was one of those things. It sold decent despite the war, but it was, the guy who wrote it was from Onendar, so it was probably bigger in like what's the capital of Onendar? Brain farting here.
Fairhaven.
Fairhaven, thank you. Well, it's probably bigger in Fairhaven, but yeah.
She looks at this confused and then looks at him like as they're leaving. She doesn't stop him or her sister just because it's kind of like, well, if he's going to throw this at me, I'm gonna let him endure. Because
Okay.
this is a weird thing to have just randomly given me.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, she'll start to flip through it to see if it's annotated anywhere or if he bookmarked something or dog-eared something.
No, it doesn't seem obviously bookmarked or annotated.
Uh, this is a weird gift. I feel like she's legitimately sitting there confused. Like, this is such a weird thing to give to a Kalashtar. I know these stories. I guess I don't know everything, but oh, all right.
Yeah, like this is a more detailed. Usually, the way you get it is like oral history. Like this is not only is it in detail, it's relatively recent compared to like you know what you were told through family stuff. So that's a factor. It's also pretty depressing to read through. Like you're reading
Yeah.
basically the story of like Tibet versus China. It's not a happy story. Um,
Is God, I have to go look at our DMs. Um, is the oh my God.
Riedra,
No, hold on.
What's the question?
Is oh my God. I just was reading this and I wrote it down and now it's gone.
okay.
Therefore,
Well, she's looking that
Hashalak.
up.
Is there anything about the Hashalaks in here? Or the Hashalak? The spirits?
Oh, about specifically the water
About
spirits?
specifically any of them, but like mine.
Oh, no, it doesn't go into that. This is just a story of like the people's lives.
Okay.
Sorry, what were you saying, Dan?
So yeah, I was gonna say while she's looking that up, I'm going to, at some point during this month, grind up some dragon shards and cast continual flame on my holy symbol.
Nice. Nice. Okay. I like it. Yeah, that's
Kick
definitely.
approve.
Yeah.
I will say, she will spend our downtime studying this to figure out, why on earth would he give this to me? It seems, I live with a know-it-all divinator. I'm sure this is important, and she wants to know why.
Put no stock in the gifts of fools.
What? You literally are teaching a divination wizard right now. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yes. And out of these two men, I trust one of them more than the other.
Yeah. There's some random fortune teller from the streets of Sharn. You know, who knows? Um, but yeah. After you stop off at Ludger's place, you know, I'd imagine at this point during the downtime, at least some of you would have met his wife and little ones.
Yeah,
Um,
we invite them for dinner.
there you go. Yeah. I feel like you invite everyone for dinner at various points, just like partially to have someone else to help, and partially for someone else to like, so they're obligated to bring a dish or something.
Do you know how much teenagers eat?
That's what I'm
Holy
saying.
shit.
Like, I I feel like you invited Purser, like
Yeah, it's like,
anybody.
Purser, bring something and we're gonna have dinner. Yeah, bring something.
Hmm.
Food. Enough for a lot of people.
There's no hiding it whatsoever. Just
Purser's the kind of like austere, like only trail rations kind of guy.
Well, it's
bring
funny
those then.
because I hate the whole like, oh, teenage boys, like, have you seen teenage girls eat through the house? They
Teenage
will.
people, yeah, it's just in general.
They're a grown girl.
Yeah.
They need plenty of food.
They're grown
Actually,
girls with weird psychic powers.
yeah, so on top of it all, they regulate like all of the petty like teenage crap that all teenagers engage in. You're there, you're not even privy to it. Like you don't even hear why one of them just like gets really upset and like you know throws her fork at the sister across the table because it's all telepathically communicated. So, um, so it's Bemi, I feel like this might be your time to shine if you wanted to get in Silly's good graces because you have a direct line to bringing in like, oh, you want food, brings in like half a dino carcass, a la
Yeah,
like
that's
Flintstones.
that's just, oh yeah, absolutely, too easy. You got it.
I mean, I have that Omberd heritage, which allows her to provide food for so
Yeah,
many people.
exactly. Like,
It's all local foods, so it may not be the things they're probably used to eating, but
hey, you know what? Food is food.
Yeah,
God damn it.
Purser's not really great at cooking. He's a messing up bread and cereal kind of guy.
So yeah, you pour it and then
Imagine
it
he
catches
just
fire.
Well, that and
Just-
he just dumps like spices and hot sauce into everything as well because Thrains like their food really spicy.
Yeah.
red milk
Just-
cereal.
just shows up with like a atomic chili flavored like beef jerky. I brought food.
Listen, if you're too good for that, I don't know. Like,
He just brings a bottle of sriracha.
yeah, they.
What'd you
It
have
counts.
for what'd you have for breakfast? I had a bowl of hot Cheetos.
Oh, oh. I don't know
Instead
why
of
that in
milk,
particular gets me, man.
Tabasco.
Oh, all right. Anyways,
Heartburn.
to get I'm just imagining the pain, like not even upset stomach, just like when your body's rejecting, you've eaten nothing of value and your body knows it, and you're just screaming at you. God. All right. Anyways, so as like, is there anything more you guys want to do, or are you just gonna like wander around town? It is like, all of you find yourselves with a day off here. It's nice to have. And I feel like
A
if
day
nothing
off?
else, you're all kind of friendly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say with a what okay, let me look at the map again. There was something. What is a taste of home? Is that
That
an
is a
inn?
bakery. Nope,
A
that's a bakery.
bakery.
It
I say
is. Yeah.
pick. Do you want something that is very sweet and very good and will make you happy?
Yes.
I
Yes.
drag her to the bakery. I
Okay.
was like, Bemmy, come on, you'll like this too.
What's the weather like on this day off?
It is not raining. But it
Okay.
is about 90 as the day gets hotter and like 50% humidity. So it's not
Okay.
bad. Yeah.
So Purser's gonna stay in his nice, barely climate-controlled tower and just relax. He'll invite everyone over to enjoy the space as well, but he doesn't want to go out and do things if it's not necessary.
Yeah,
If we're
I can't
if
blame
we're
you.
invited to
So
Purser's, we should bring him something from the bakery.
yeah, like and Sultalis is not wearing her armor. She's wearing like a sleeveless shirt and loose pants. She looks very casual compared to when she
Full
is at the
gear, full
temple
kit. Yeah.
or in the field. Um her hair's up because it's hot and humid, but she's like, "You will like this. I'm positive you will like this. Let's go." And I grab Bemmy and Pick, and Ludger can come too. Like if he's here, I don't know what he's doing today.
I imagine Ludger will bring his 2 children.
There you go. But yeah, well, I would say your daughter is actually out with Satalis's younger sister. Um, Apparently they were going to explore somewhere near the edge of like, it's one of those like it's a secret, but they're exploring near the edge of the farms. It's a secret, but they both get so excited you heard about it.
It it reminds me of that first scene in one of the Jurassic Park movies. Like, could you
Yeah.
don't do that, please no.
And they promise, and they really mean the promise, but they get excited. But
I
yeah.
hand Tatia an entrenching tool before she goes.
Okay. Yeah, so you're the Cotton Hill of the Cotton Hill school, where it's like, you gave him a loaded gun for his birthday? Ain't gonna give a toy without batteries.
Well, you know what? If I still have my old cat C, I give that to her.
Sure. I would say legitimately it's almost impossible for her to span, but yeah, sure. Um yeah,
We
so she's
find the
got,
two of them dragging it out of the
yeah, I
house
mean
and be like,
it's,
"What are you
yeah.
doing?"
Yeah, I think your wife would intervene on that one, but regardless.
Well, you know what? It's probably for the best.
Yeah, because the bayonet's still fucking on it. All right, so the bakery is owned by Nico Riston, who specializes in Sire-style baked goods, um, like molette, think bagel without a hole, tortajadas, kind of sort of like French toast, but with honey instead of like actual powdered sugar, and sweet milk bread, which is honestly just like a sweetened biscuit. It's not real sweet. Um, the building itself is dominated by the huge oven that takes up the back of the store and the front shelf, which has fresh loaves of bread laid out every morning. Every window is open in the place as you approach, and it is sweltering going in. Um, Almost all of the baked goods are made up with imported food, but Nico is hoping to switch to, locally grown stuff just as soon as he can. Not out of, this is not an era where artisanal is a thing. This is just so he doesn't have to pay the fees to like buy grain that's traveling across continents, basically. Admittedly,
Mhm.
it's through a magic portal, but still, just getting it across Dargan is a big enough expense. So, um, but yeah, you have a variety of. None of them are like donut level sweet, but pretty close.
We'll grab a few different. I mean, Sultalis will grab a few different things for everybody to try, and then enough to take to Purser because the man doesn't eat real food to save his damn life.
So I feel like he's also one of those who's like is perfectly thin despite it. Like he is doing the Cheetos and donut to wash it down and hasn't put on like an ounce.
Because he also trains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got that fitness regime.
That fucker.
But
And he never loses the weight where he doesn't want it to be lost.
that's yeah, that sounds right. All of it sounds
That
canon
bitch.
to me.
He's also a young peak. He's also a young human, so
Yeah, there you go.
stuff still
There's
works in your body.
Yeah.
Well,
Roger makes offhand comments about just something about when his metabolism runs out.
you say that, but he's also constantly exposed to healing magic, so he might never deteriorate.
Is that your
Yeah.
strategy? Like he'll never get cancer if he's constantly going down and Sultalis is fixing him?
That
You
makes
know for a
too
not even
much
just
sense.
Sultalis, but like his own healing magic as well, just in day-to-day life. But you know he's not going to die of old age.
No crow's feet for me. I'm gonna swap places with you.
That does remind me. At some point, she will inquire about getting a diamond or diamonds worth a total of 300 gold.
It's
Or
surprisingly difficult to get those, largely because once again it's got to go across Dargan. So those
yeah.
might have to be like
I think
you
we'll have the
might have
best
to.
bet sourcing them locally.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
she will put in an order with Nat. Like it doesn't have to be one diamond, it can be several, but I need a total of this much. And she'll just say
She
300
over
gold worth.
enthusiastically nods at that, and like you don't need to explain any further why you would want diamonds. They're like Nat
Mm-hmm.
gets it. They are the shiniest of shinies. She loves it.
Oh, good.
So yeah.
If we're
So
going to the bakery and we're getting these, what did you call them? Millettes?
yeah,
Bagels without holes?
yeah.
Then we got to go to the smokehouse
That's
right
true.
afterward.
Yeah.
Ludger would also, before we leave the bakery, he would let Klaus pick out any treat he wants.
He likes the
Ludger,
milk
on account
sweetbread,
of
I feel
being,
like. Yeah.
Ludger, on account of being, away from home a lot of the time, tends to like to spoil his kids whenever he's around the house.
Yeah, I guess that's like, oh, good, Dad's home, and he brought ice cream. Thanks. I haven't given him dinner yet, but we got ice. Yeah, that. Yeah.
Not that she feels any type of way about that one.
But yeah, guys, just head to the smokehouse. I imagine that a lot of it's fish, like the stuff that I won't say you're the only one bringing in forest stuff, Bemmy, but you are the most reliable person to bring in at least
love
one or
you.
two good catches a day. Everything else is coming from the fishermen.
Did you say that out loud?
Sorry, what?
Silly.
Silly, did you say that out loud?
Yeah, she says they love you. You bring them stuff.
Oh, they love you. Oh, okay. All right. Never mind.
Bemmy,
Goes
your
off the
bow
mic
appears in
corner.
your hand mysteriously. And you feel depressed again. His
not
bow
because
is
of
tied
bad
to his
memory.
emotional state. Yeah.
Your grandmother is going to murder me in my sleep. It's fine.
I put
Uh,
a reassuring hand on Bemmy's shoulder after he looks somewhat dejected.
Anyway, wow,
Uh,
that was so wonderfully timed.
yeah, there's some people in the background laughing, going about their happy lives. Bemmy, you see a young
Me.
couple against all odds being happy, and you want to throw something at them.
Peck
And
wants to help. They're known for being matchmakers.
Anyway,
Problem is, Sultalis is just like, what?
What? I am so busy with other stuff.
She's as
What?
bad as I am about this shit.
she's single momming like 6 teenagers. It's pretty forgivable.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so we're gonna want some smoked fish to go with my bagel without a hole.
That's fair. Yeah, I kind of figured that's where you're going. Yeah,
Yeah.
fish is a common thing here. And after you've had these a couple times, it goes surprisingly well with the snakefish, um,
Ooh.
which like you had to convince them they were edible. Like yeah, you have to take off the poison spines and stuff, but
Take out the poison
once you do,
spines, you gotta bleed them out through the gills, but then it's good.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so you're able to get some bagels and lox and head head to the Talon Tower and share some of the baked goods with a probably very relaxed looking person as he's
So
in his AC.
when you open the door and come in, he doesn't leave it locked. He trusts you guys and people in general. But when you go in, you see that like all the furniture has been pushed away from the middle of the sitting room. His like coat isn't on his body, which is a strange occurrence. It's instead just like flung over one of the chairs, and he's just lying on his back, just all limbs askew on the stone floor.
I run over like, Purser!
His eyes are closed, and he's just breathing deeply as like a fan held invisibly in midair is just like wafting in his
Okay.
direction.
I
With
will
that
say
context,
unseen
she just kind of
servants.
watches like,
it
do
is
you
a
need
radical
minute?
change in climate as you step inside his tower. Like it's not quite AC in the middle of the Louisiana swamps, but it's like
It keeps the humidity out.
yeah, it's relatively cool. There's airflow and it's dry.
Purser, do we need to leave you alone with your friend for a second?
Either way, you need to close the door. You're letting all the heat in. He doesn't
eat
even
real
get up. He just
food.
stays lying there with his eyes closed.
Yeah,
Get up and come eat real food.
Nah, Bebby's gonna walk over to him while he's still laid in the middle of the floor with smoked fish and this bagel and just put it towards his face. He's like, "You want some of this? It's good."
Uh,
Are you gonna feed him? Maybe like
Exactly. He's
he's
he's gonna
crouched
put it
over
in his
person's
mouth.
head.
The unseen servant will put the fan down and start feeding Purser.
Oh my god.
This is beautiful.
There's a table over there. I'll just stay here. The floor's nice and cold.
What is Purser? It's really not that bad.
Uh,
Remember how we were in a swamp not long ago?
yeah, I hated that too.
You came here willingly, or
I-
did you?
He looks like he's about to answer, but he cuts himself off.
Okay, that's enough of an answer. Anyway,
Yeah, out of character, he's here on orders
Yeah.
because he's the best fit to come here.
Yeah.
who did you piss off?
Well, he was born Siren. That's what he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Guess what? You technically have a claim to. Uh-oh.
More
So,
work.
I
um,
imagine at this point, being a 9-year-old, Klaus is starting to crawl over uh, Purser because, that's what your instant 9-year-old boy thinks when he sees someone lying on the ground.
Ugh.
I would imagine I have Sahana with me, and Samira is around here somewhere. So your house is just bustling with people at this
all
point.
of a sudden, like these
I
people bring all these children in.
I will point out that the house is 200 square feet. It's not huge.
Well, more the
So we're all
merrier.
just kind of crammed in there.
Look, as refugees, we're probably used to that at this
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
Sure, pick
He
perches
isn't,
on something
but-
tall where she can't be grabbed by children.
Bemmy will take a moment and just drink in what it actually is to see a healthy and happy family style reaction and interaction with people.
Yeah.
This is
Mm.
it's good new.
Lu-
It's different.
Ludger hasn't once, like, deliberately, negatively conditioned his children. You haven't seen Sitalis like withhold food even once. It's weird.
No one
She
got
in,
put into the chokey.
she in fact uses it as a bribe.
We
Often.
have
Yeah,
a
well,
child like standing on Purser's ribcage and he's not doing anything about it.
yeah. I mean, strictly speaking, Mima used food as a bribe too. It was just she didn't give you any for days, and then she would offer it to make you do things.
No, it's more like, will you please do your chores? Okay, you did your chores. Here you go. Okay, you didn't do
So-
your chores because you're in a bad mood. You can have it anyway.
Oh wow, that's what kind of chores you do? Because normally it's like me having to get like spiders or trap a soul in a mirror or
Oh
Got
my
the
god.
box that's always screaming.
yeah.
Sahana is probably just looks at you and goes, I just have to do the dishes
Yeah.
and make my bed.
You have a bed? You...
Yeah.
Had something like a bed. It was, straw ain't cheap.
No,
But
it's a burlap bag. You're a little scratchy, but if you wear your clothes when you lay on it, it's not that bad.
yeah. But yeah, other than
Poor
torturing,
Bemmy.
Poor
other than torturing Purser and accidentally Bemmy, you guys, it's a pretty nice day off. And I don't know when you'd want to leave Purser's abode, but the kids actually
After we
wouldn't be in any hurry because it's boring in here, but it's also not like they're not sweating, so they like that.
It's also, I think, the most solid structure in the town right now. Everything else is
Outside,
kind of...
yeah, outside of like the still pseudo intact weapons platform and shit. Yeah,
Oh, well,
definitely.
yeah, I wasn't counting those. No one's
Yeah,
living in that.
hopefully. Yeah.
Ludger is deliberately trying to get a Klaus to work all the sugar he just ate out of him before he heads home.
There you go. Yeah. Uh, but either way, as you guys head out, we'll say it's not late in the evening, but it's definitely evening. You guys head out, and as the sun's, it's not setting, but it's past midday definitely. Bemmy, with your legendary perception, you spot something silhouetted against all that awful brightness of the sun. Um, at first glance, it looks like a rigid snake with like bumps. But looking close, you can see that it's just like a pole or a log or something, maybe like 9 feet long, with like it's got like a person growing out of it on the back. And it just kind of sits there, like silhouetted on against the sun. Kind of hard to see, really. Like it actually really hurts to look at, but you did notice. Um, It sits there floating like a mile up for really quick, like circling Mishann. And then you spot some more details that you couldn't see when it was in front of the sun. Now it looks like a big log with a person standing on the back, and like there's kind of the head of another person on the front, where they're either lying down or it's just their head. And the thing circles the village 3 times before heading northeast.
It makes me uncomfortable.
What makes you uncomfortable?
Well, I saw something flying around up there. It was kind of hard to see for a minute because the sun was in the way, but it flew off to the northeast. It looked like a person sticking out of a log that was floating above and circling around the town.
Is it a cloudy day?
Little bit, not bad. I would say you can still. It was pretty clear visibility.
Well, no, I mean, I'm wondering if maybe Bemi just saw like a big puffy cloud that looks like a person standing on a log.
There are some clouds, but not enough for like realistically for him to like.
That hurts, man.
Yeah.
That hurts so much.
Look, you're looking directly at the sun as a drow. Weird things are gonna happen.
I recant my previous statement.
Do the Invader Zim thing where he's just staring as his eyes are bubbling.
I'm gonna sit here in this alleyway until the skin grows back on my eyeballs.
Exactly. But yeah, there's a few clouds, but relatively cloudless.
The
Within
work
that
never ceases, does it?
Within that time of me seeing this thing, like, float around, would it be at all possible for me to hit it with a hunter's mark?
Is
Is
there?
that like a range of 60 feet or something?
Yeah, it's a mile up.
Ooh, okay. All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Still don't like it. But it went northeast, huh?
Does what he described sound familiar to any of us?
Give me a
It
history
sounds
check.
like someone writing something.
But you said
You
give
said
you a check?
Pick.
You
Yep.
said I had seen it too? Okay.
Possibly.
Okay. Or at least it's described to me. And what check is it?
History.
History.
History's
Oh, I have
mysteries.
my dead people helping me on history right now.
There you go. Oh, okay. So, like, you kind of puzzle about it a little bit, and then think of it. Oh yeah, there were when you went to that like Drow city like up north, they were riding those like blah, were riding those. So that was the thing.
To Drow City, those very popular. They ride them a lot. Up
There was
north.
like 2 people riding them, and they could fly in it, and like they're all fiery. The back is on fire all the time. You're not sure how it works because it seems like it would hurt. It's on fire.
Magical on fire floaty log?
But both. 2 people can be on it. Back looks like fire. And I don't know how it not hurt them, but yeah, they ride often up north. But the tribes north, not very nice.
But they went back to the northeast.
Do I know with that check what tribes are in that direction?
No
I
tribes.
know.
It's clans.
Or clans.
Yeah, the Soltaire clans of the city-state of Alum Cusp, which
Great.
they have a lot of cool things. Like, and they it's a good place to go to get like dead people dust, ashes and such, because they always burn all their bodies and they let you in, but you gotta usually go either with a couple people or go like when they ask you. Sometimes they just grab people and like make them do stuff and don't let them leave. Like even your people, and your people usually just are allowed to go wherever.
Pick explains all of that and then emphasizes that they don't let her people leave, and it's extremely rude because we should be allowed to go wherever. We've always been allowed to go wherever.
I
For
start
her,
walking
it's always
towards the governor's building.
Should we be concerned that they're here spying on us?
Yep, that's why we're going to go talk to the governess.
Yep.
I would maybe be a bit worried if they want to make you do things you don't want to do. They may take for that, but they, have lots of dead people, Dust. They burn their dead. Kind of
They
bad.
you actually got called in there a couple times after the plague because they got like if the southern tribes got badly hit by that, they got decimated. Like to the extent where you were going around, you were fluttering around the city, which where you'd been there before with your teachers, and it was like walking around. It was like walking around like Manhattan during the pandemic, like eerie, abandoned. It just there wasn't many people, but yeah,
Northern tribe hurt, very hurt from sickness, more than the South. Lots of dead. So many dead. Way more dead. Um, and they're the ones that, if I'm finding part of this, they give me some of their dead, right? For the grove.
yeah, they would give. Well, the southern tribes and the northern clans both technically are willing to do that. Like the southern tribes give you full bodies, and the northern clans just give you ashes.
Okay. If I find that priest, Broom, then Northern tribes agree to give me ashes of dead, which is why I look for him. They usually keep.
And by the way, like in the downtime asking around town, you weren't able to find anything about no need for a check there, just no new information even among the new peoples that arrived. Sure. But yeah, if you want to head to the governor's place, you absolutely can. Governor's building. Zoom in here. There we go. Yeah, it's so it's not done yet. Like, well, it's done in the sense that it's waterproof and a proper building. Um, but where is it here? It still largely looks almost like an auditorium or something. Like there's some spaces. There's been some areas that have been cordoned off for like private meeting rooms or like the personal quarters of the governor or governess. But it's still pretty bare bones, just like most of the structures here in Mishann, because it was put up as quickly as they could without like completely sacrificing structural integrity. Um, but yeah, you head in there, and if you want to talk with the governess, she still doesn't have a secretary or anything, so it's just a matter of knocking on her door.
Hello.
Oh yes, those what should we call you? Volunteers? What can I do for you today?
Um, so Bemmy here and Pick saw what appears to be Drow scouting above this town.
We've had
With-
the Spring Blossom clan. We've had a couple hunters come in.
No, they were flying.
They
Yeah, she like puts down her pen at that. Uh, could you explain?
well,
Yeah, I'm gonna let Bemmy and Pick talk now.
I saw them in the sky. They were flying around. Looked like something that resembled like a log. There's like maybe one or two on there, and I guess sometimes they're also on fire. But the point is that they were up in the sky and they were looking at everybody down here in the town, and then they went off to the northeast. And from what Cha-Cha say, that, well, these are the kind of drow that'll take people and make them do things they don't want to do. So that just raises a little bit of concern. I don't want nobody here getting taken and doing something that they don't want to do.
Um, all right. So should we? Are you suggesting that they would attack us, or?
Mm, they could
Don't
attack,
know.
but maybe they try to take people, make them slaves.
I believe we should prepare for the worst.
That's not unreasonable. All right. Well, I'll try and I'll contact the guard captain and have her start getting everyone ready. We'll pull in around the center of town near the portal. If anything happens too dramatically, we'll try and retreat into the portal, and nothing else that might dissuade anyone following. Um,
Tala suddenly regretting how far out she built the house.
You're near Pick. That's you got Pick upside. Pick's not even half a mile away. But yeah. Do you want to tell her anything else, or help round up people yourselves, or what do you want to do here?
I think we should
I
stay
asked
in close to
Ludger
town.
if his people would be willing to help. They've got combat experience. I mean,
That
obviously, if they're not up for it, I completely understand. It's just a thought.
Ludger, obviously he's very much explains like, well, yeah, I would have to ask him, of course, but no, knowing my boys, they'd be up for it. It's not the fighting that bothers us. It's you know,
Not
coming,
fighting.
yeah, it's not fighting.
Okay. Yeah, you could definitely head out and yeah, it's about, if I remember correctly, what is it? One sec here. What is it? I think it's 8. Yeah, it'd take about 2 hours. Maybe closer to 3. Probably it's about a 3-hour round trip. Um, less if you're really like, racing on the road or something. You could use Purser's horse and a cart or something to go faster if you wanted.
Certainly could.
A shorter distance like that, a horse is gonna really help.
All right.
Cool. Okay, yeah. So you could definitely go in, and they are quite happy at the Soldier's Rest. It's still nothing super impressive, but it's a solid, mostly wooden or bamboo structure, with some stone taken from the ruins of the temple. But yeah, none of them object to the idea of like going out and fighting again. There's not any issues with that. Uh, you just want to kind of keep them probably away from like the volunteer militia that you have here in town. But yeah, I'd say, like I said, about 3 hours round there and back. While he's doing that, does anybody else want to do anything? The guard captain's gathering like the equivalent of militia, all like 10 people who are like willing and able. There's a lot more people willing, but among the refugees, not a ton of vets right now.
So I can't tell Suniker what to do. She's a grown-ass woman. But I tell Sotara, Samira, and Sahana, if the alarm sounds, you have to get to the center of town. Do you understand me?
Well, there is a blockhouse in this, like that was used as just communal housing originally. That's where most of the civilian population. The blockhouse is right next to the portal.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah,
that
I
would be a
mean,
good place to stick them for now.
yeah, I will, and I will apologize, but it's important.
Yeah. Even the youngest doesn't object too much. Like you don't go through the morning without realizing some things about life. So, um, so there's, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, coughed when I started to talk.
There you go.
Purser is gonna run back to his house, get geared up, and then inspire the townsfolk by looking like a badass with
Okay.
his shiny armor and
And you're
dramatically waving coat.
constantly burning
Neat.
symbol.
Just raging like an inferno of silver fire around my neck.
That frequently probably gets picked to stare at him.
More so
Be
than usual.
fair, yeah.
More so than usual. Just like very frequently, just catch her spacing out. Left they're around each other. She doesn't need to pay attention to anything. She's just
It's that animal magnetism again kicking in.
Yep.
But in any case, Percy's just gonna try to reassure people by, giving off the "we know what we're doing, we're gonna fix this" vibes.
That does help. It definitely helps make sure like nobody's quite panicking, but there's definitely an overall like there's an undercurrent of everybody's really concerned about this. Everyone's feeling like, we're just getting our feet under us type thing. And now there's not a lot of explanation given. It's just go to the blockhouse. There may be possible disaster type thing. There's not a lot of details given on what's the problem because they don't want to panic them. But yeah, that I would say that definitely helps overall morale. Having this dramatic looking holy warrior. Does anybody else want to do anything, or is that enough prep? You think?
Is there a check I could make to set little alarm traps that might not like alarm bells, but just things that if they were messed with, like knowing how others move in this forest, that I could set up stuff that it's like, okay, if that was moved or broken, somebody or something came through here. I mean, it could be animals too, so I don't know how
Yeah,
reliable it is, but
you could definitely do that. The main issue here is the size of the settlement presents a
yeah.
lot of problems. Like defending this is like you know your northern like this is it's like 2 miles to defend where the farms are, and like
Yeah.
half a mile on the other. That's the main issue where you run into, but you could definitely set up some out in the forest in that time and just check back in on them and you know. But the problem is they're going to be fairly far away from. I'm assuming where would you guys set up? Like where would you want your unit to be? Because the town militia would be I feel like they would be here where they can fall back into the buildings. Ludger,
I would
where would
want
you
to.
want your forces?
I
Or where?
uh I would say we're also relatively close to the town, but distinctly away from the militia. I would say probably around the Strom House would be a good spot for us to like watch, for a flanking maneuver
Okay. 1 second
while
here.
making it so if we need to fall back, we can do so.
Okay, let's see here.
Um, I'd ask Pick if she
Oh yeah, this is so
can.
big.
Um, I mean, I know we don't know if it's going to be today or if anyone's even coming, but can you kind
Yeah.
of be up in the air and see if and you know what I'm saying?
No? Be
Can
up in
you
the air?
scout a little bit? You're very
Yeah?
fast.
Yeah?
Okay.
I go look.
So, so um uh we have this is the militia. I was thinking having them here, but sorry, Ludger, where exactly did you want your boys or boys and girls?
I was, I was going to say by the Strom House as basically
Okay.
uh it would allow us to flank watch the flank, but also still retreat if we need to, while
Okay.
also obviously keeping us away from you know people that may be identified as you know the enemy from the Great War.
hmm That's fair. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't want any issues arising. Okay. And the question mark is the party. You guys here? I saw that was a ping from I think Sotalis.
Yeah, I think us being kind of up there is not a bad idea.
Okay. Any...
Unless somebody has a better idea.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Uh,
I love
I don't
ideas.
recall specifically what kind of state the weapon platform was in. Is it something that we could get running? When I say we,
It
I
actually
probably mean
was.
Purser.
It actually was. The issue is what was powering it was a fairly potent fiend.
Mhm.
So it's like the gun. So to use modern vernacular, the gun is intact. There's no ammo. You would need to
How
bind.
much power would be
Um,
necessary?
think something maybe as strong as an incubus.
Okay.
Oh boy.
So not something I could brute force with just like pumping spell slots into it.
Probably not.
Okay.
Not yet. Anyway.
Yeah.
Some levels down the road, probably. You could probably get one shot out of it.
Okay. So nothing we can get working right now,
Like,
unfortunately.
look, what you remember, this was a suspiciously big anti-aerial weapon. So this thing might theoretically be able to, like, maybe injure dragons. I don't know why giants would be leery of dragons, but, maybe that's what it was built with in mind. So that would be both the impact and the power drain, something that can hurt a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, and worst comes to worst, you guys could try and get into the platform again. Um, but
Yeah, there's not
What could
anyways,
much
possibly
in
go
there.
wrong?
there's
It
not
would be
much
a
in there.
very safe place to put people if it really
Yeah.
comes down to a full-scale attack.
We let out another demon accidentally.
Yeah, there
We're
is
really mad
another
about that.
intact one over here. This one's still intact and hasn't been delved into. These
Okay.
two are all fucked up, but there's
And
another one over here.
Purser is not letting anything out of those ever again.
What if it's really a celestialist? Anyway,
If it says it is, it isn't. If it is, it isn't.
fair enough. But yeah, I would say, 3 or 4 hours later, you guys are feeling pretty comfortably prepped. Um, the last rays of the sun are fading, and the horizon at this point has become just like a faint line of red light, uh, barely peeking over the treetops. Like there's just some light filtering through. For all intents and purposes, it's dark in Mishann itself. Um, and Hick, I believe you were scouting.
Yep.
How are you doing that? Just
Um,
fluttering from tree to tree around the settlement, or flying up high and looking that way? How you doing it?
both. Probably starting up high to see if I see anything, and then going
Okay.
around checking for signs of
Okay.
something I would recognize as drow, because I'm sure these people move very differently than most drow.
Fair enough. Yeah, fluttering up high. Pick, you see a pretty big group of people moving through the jungle. Either on foot or with huge carriages being pulled by, like, those big scaly things that everybody likes to eat. Um, some other creatures that you've seen before, these big fluffy like hooved things that people like. And like that's many people. um you can count. Give me just a general int check just to see it, like counting, just to count the numbers from a distance without eh, less than 1,000, more than like 100.
Okay.
Somewhere in that
Um,
range, just at a casual
do
glance.
they
It's really hard
do they
to
look?
count people like that.
And how far are they?
Not far. They're coming up on the edge of, like, let me check here. They're maybe 20 minutes away from Bemi's home, max.
Okay.
They're not moving
Can
quick.
can she race out that way and kind of get a closer look?
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, are you trying to sneak, or like are you hitting the
No.
canopy and trying to flutter? Okay, you just balls to the wall. Okay.
Going for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Uh.
Mostly to see if she sees a variety of people or if it looks like an angry party of people.
Okay. So fluttering quickly, um, you see a surprising variety. You see um, like a fair number of people unarmed with anything besides like a knife, a lot of children, and a lot of
Okay.
like livestock type things. But you do see a fair number of people fully equipped for war, like shiny metal worn all over them, big weapons, like that flying thing spots you and starts zooming after you. You might want to
Stop
you
and
yeah,
then mentally connect because I have 120 feet and be
okay.
like, "Hi, I can look."
Okay. Yeah, the yeah, I feel like realistically their response is the person kind of standing on the back of this thing is swivels what looks like a shiny stick around at you, and a little burst of fire like zooms towards you. It's like the size of like Purser's pinky or something, or Sotalus's pinky. It's not very impressive. And then it like touches the tree underneath you, and it explodes into a very big ball of fire that lights the tree on flames.
Why tree angry noises in their brain?
And it's
Why
still zooming
mad?
towards you very quickly.
She's pretty confident she can dodge most things, so she might just zoom under it and come up behind them.
Okay. All right.
So, was the explosion audible or visible from?
It's visible, but not from where you are. She's like, I mean, let's see here. They're about 3 miles away right
I'll
now.
actually flutter down towards their caravan. So if they shoot their own people.
Okay. All right. There's some
Yes.
bows that are aimed in your direction. Give me a persuasion check if you're trying to not get like just instantly murdered.
Yeah, she's just like, "Why are you aggressive? You know what my people are. What?" Or
Okay.
sorry, that's perception, not persuasion.
Yeah.
Not great. At least it wasn't on the disadvantage.
That's true.
Bypick.
Run fast, fly faster.
1 sec.
I'm fast. I got lots of dodge.
There's a hail of arrows.
Ooh, I have my inspiration. Can I use that
Yeah, you could
from
try and
earlier?
reroll. Yeah. Go ahead and
Sweet.
reroll.
Not better.
Ooh.
Okay. So a hail of arrows are shot at Michu from various longbows. And okay. 28 piercing damage. You can half that maybe if you want.
Oh,
As
run!
they are shooting at you. Pick.
Yeah.
So 28 piercing damage. Anything you want
Half.
to do
Yeah.
there? Yeah. And what damn it, Scott. What are you what else are you doing? They just shot you a lot.
I mean, she's wondering why they're not talking to her because she's like, "I'm not an aggressive species. They have
Oh
like
no,
they're very familiar with what my people are.
I get that.
This seems like a
Yeah.
people caravan," and she's talking to them, so she'll just project on all channels, like because it's 120 feet range of her, and it doesn't have. Let's see.
Okay,
If I
yeah.
have a
No, I
limit of
like I
people.
get so there's a lot of shots initially, and then there's like yells in Elvish and Giant both to, land and surrender any weapons type thing would be the general thing.
I mean, she'll land in the tree nearby and be like, "Why so aggressive? What are we, Draculak?"
Yeah, so like the general they don't continually just try and like kill the shit out of you if you're not actively attacking.
No,
But
she never drew a weapon on him.
yeah, no, like you were very reasonable here. It's just they're not seemingly acting super reasonable. But the replying yell is, who sent, who is your master and who sent you type thing, and some pretty upset noises.
I mean, she does the 120-foot radius of people, and she's like, Drekalak, not anyone, master. Serve taking, stewarding dead. Guardian.
Okay. Yeah, like they don't like it doesn't get to the point where they're not like they don't have weapons out, but at that there's just a general like relief slash irritation washes over a lot of the faces. And yeah, at that some of the guards just kind of dismissively like gesture towards you. If you're not here on greater business, leave. Oh, like they look like they're about to like not quite pass out, but they were on think like a group, a group of soldiers like going through the jungle in Vietnam, and a random person's like, "Hey, what you doing?"
Yeah,
cue
that's
like
fair.
40 shots into the trees.
She's like, what doing? Approaching big colony of people. Many people ahead. Need help?
Yeah, they like there's some confused looks at that, but they just generally seem to be kind of have resigned to ignore you. They
She'll move a little bit down and do another 120 foot. She's like, one of these people's going to want to talk to me, even if it's a child.
I mean, yeah, you get a reply from some of the kids, mostly curious, but yeah, as a rule, they seem to be like pretty much ignoring you now that you're harmless.
Are you
It's
needing food? Like, she's trying to obtain, like, why are you traveling? Are you needing food? Are
yeah,
you, like,
yeah,
need help?
yeah. They don't seem to deign to respond to you very heavily. Like I said, they're not hostile anymore. They're not trying to like fireball slash shish kebab you, but eh, this does kind of match the overall. When they needed things from you, they would engage you, but by and large, they were not super polite before. It was never fun to come visit.
No, they're not nice people.
Yeah, they're not nice people, but they weren't. None of them, at least when you were there, tried to enslave you, so that was good. And they've stopped trying to kill you, so that's good. But yeah, they just seem to kind of have resigned themselves to ignore you as they continue on heading towards Mishann. And at this
She'll go
point,
down the
like,
whole fucking train of them. And
yeah,
she will
like
just try to see if anybody says anything about what's going on. And then she'll try that for about 5 minutes and then race ahead.
yeah, as you do it, like in the 5 minutes, you see like the one's arms seem to be like setting up in lines. There's definitely like some order being put in. There seems to be like uh, probably about 60 people, all armed to the teeth, armored, like getting into the front of the group, setting up in lines, setting up like these weird crystalline banners, things like that. But yeah, they're by and large ignoring you.
Race back.
Okay.
And she'll go to Purser and the group and she will tell them how many she saw, what they look like they're doing, that they ignored her.
Very rude.
Very rude. That they shot at her. They have a fire breathing thing that blew up a tree. There are a bunch of children with them and everything like that, but they would not tell her anything. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, are you coming for food? Are you hungry? Are you traveling? Are you refugees? Are you like rapid fire questions to 100? And she's like, out of 120-foot radius of every single person I could telepathy connect to, I got 0% of anything.
I mean, you would have
So
gotten answers from kids like, I want to go home or I'm scared, but by and large, like nothing that was very helpful. There we go. I should addendum that. Yeah, and the total number of people you would estimate, because you were just like, it was easy to count because you're just fluttering past them. Probably about 500 people. Maybe about 60 of them really armed with a fair amount of like livestock and such.
but yeah, she tells them everything she saw and what they did. And that
I will do ascending to the captain of our guard.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
That's
Half the company.
basically like I will ask Pick for a count. Like how many people are coming? As many people are as in Mishann? More than Mishann?
Well, so like I said,
Um,
it was 500 total, but that's if you're counting kids and like people armed to the teeth were about 60.
I will pass the numbers along via ascending spell to the guard captain, along with a total of 500 people, but only 60 are armed.
they
They were
shoot at me. Pick seems extremely mad at this.
Yeah, and I will say that they did initially attack Pikikcha. um,
Alack, rude, rude, death.
so I'm not sure exactly what. Basically, she'll TLDR it to not sure exactly what this is. It's a large number of people. Only a small percentage of them seem to be armed, but I think that this is me to the party. I think that we should go out to meet them.
they're clearly not here for a benign purpose if they attacked Pick unwarned.
He seemed a little
I'm willing to
surprised, I will say.
reserve
I I
judgment.
doubt Pick says that. I really doubt that. Now that I say that aloud, I'm like, there's no way Pick would explain that she surprised
Yeah,
I
Pick's
mean,
not really
No.
one for nuance in our
him.
experience.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. She wasn't like, I snuck up on them and scared them. She's just like, I am a servant of death and I am known and like our species is known. Why would you do this? Like,
Yeah.
I think
Very rude.
very rude.
Sultalis would just say, I understand where you're coming from, but also if we can avoid an actual fight, then we should. I'm not letting anybody become enslaved, but if
They
we
have
can
kid.
resolve this peacefully, then we should.
Which kid?
Ooh, that's a
They
good
have
party name.
kids.
We're the mediators of Mishann.
Why
I
would they
like
come here to
alliteration.
attack us with children?
I don't think they
That's
are for fighting all the time. I just think they are very rude and maybe they are hungry. I don't know. Their mean ones are out front, have strange crystal banner, but kid, many different women and men.
I don't
All the
trust
children
this.
speak to me. Children say things like they want to go home.
There has to be
so
some kind of trick.
Sultalis just starts to walk in that direction
Into the
because
jungle. Sure, yeah,
yeah,
Mhm.
no,
that's
she's just
fair.
like, look, I'm gonna make this decision for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it's 3 miles. Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
I know
She's
you
not gonna
can't. I know you
like
can't see so good, so all right. I'm gonna go
so
with
I
you.
just to be very clear, she is not going 3 miles. She's just
No, no.
moving so that we are the first people they meet.
I got my point on that was that they were only 3 miles away. So like they're even going at just a steady pace, they're gonna be here, relatively
Yeah.
quick. Um, but yeah. So yeah, if you just ping where you want me to put you on in the jungle map, and I'll
Oh,
be there.
let
Which direction are they coming from?
Uh, shoot.
Basically Bemmy's home.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna
Like
say, how about we
just
could
get
actually
here.
go there. We'd have good vantage point, if anything. But
Throw
Yeah.
rocks at them. Yeah.
I will also say that I'm not taking my armor or my shield off, but I will leave my staff down, and I plan to be ready to talk. We're gonna be that peace domain cleric that I pretend I am.
That's fair. Yeah, that moment where you're like, curse my class alignment choice. I've done that plenty. Um, okay, yeah. So that's I think it's like what 2 miles I said, something like that.
I would
yeah, a
like to
little
cast
over.
comprehend languages as we go.
Probably not a bad idea. We bring you this knife in peace. They've got a knife. Kill him. Let's just open fire.
I mean, you've already heard Persh's opinion. He is
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
on the bad cop side of the
yeah.
equation.
Let the flame sort him out. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I heard some very faint someone. Was that you, Scott? Maybe not.
No, but I was, I've been on this department for 20 years, and we ever take anyone alive. They always resist.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so Purser, you've got one ally in the Karn. All right.
I'm mostly just
I
protective,
wasn't
Vic.
I wasn't actually being serious, but
No,
I'll
no, I
say
know.
I'm in a guarded stance. I got my I won't say like I have it like ready, but I definitely have my cat C in hand because
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Been,
you don't want it not in
uh,
hand if something happens. Yeah. Well, actually, I think yours isn't a Cat C anymore. It's a
yeah,
Canf
I know. I'm
Canf
just so
lacrosse.
used to calling it a cat
Cat
C,
C.
so
I feel like that would be in character. Like you went through over a decade of terrible war with married to your Cat C. Now you've got this fancy Canif weapon. Yeah, it's
In any
objectively
case,
better, but still. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, as you guys get there, I would say about the same time you have a force. It looks like only about 60 of them are coming up, marching through the jungle. Let's see here. Yeah, they're about 60 strong, like Pick said. Moving in orderly lines, armed and armored in gleaming fire bronze. Every 10 feet, there are 4 balls of light circling above what looks like. Oh, lost somebody. Above a unit in 2 distinct patterns. The first is bright gold, silver, and white. Second is bright red, or I'm sorry. So the colors are bright red, silver for both of them. And then the first one has gold and white. Second one is gray and black difference. So there's some what looked like banners, but there's just like balls of light circling to signify it. It's very strange by Corvair standards. It's not like just a flag or something. You can all pretty quickly tell that they're drow, but they don't look anything like the drow you saw as you went south. None of them have any of the white tattoos, and just the way they move, they're carrying themselves differently. Um, Very straight back, none of that kind of like none of the very careful, moving through the jungle trying not to injure yourself on it. These guys are just going through it. Um, uh, Clearly a military force marches forward until they one of them does kind of point out you guys. Like, how are you? Are you at the base of Bemi's tree fort? Or are you like all up at the top of it, like lighting it
I'm
up
at the
with silver flame?
base.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll be standing beside Siltalis with the flaming amulet well exposed.
Okay. Okay.
same here. Besides the whole amulet thing.
Gotcha.
Coat billowing
Um,
dramatically behind me.
Up top. I want to be up top, best vantage point as possible.
Yep. 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 And pick.
I just realized my mic was up on the
You're good.
railing.
Up. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Probably getting ready to throw rocks or mean words.
She's got all 4 of her arms crossed, and she's looking at them like a very enraged child. Like, you are so rudest people.
But yeah. So like, oh geez. Was that me or that was someone else?
That's
No, that
Zach. He keeps
was.
popping out.
Oh geez. But yeah, they line themselves up. Like seeing you, they seem to kind of pause, and they line themselves up. The ones near the front have heavy armor, with tower poleaxes. Some have lighter armor, armed with like a twin-bladed sword. That's about one scattered out among them. And along the back are longbowmen, with odd shovel-headed spears on their backs. Pick, you recognize the longbowmen as the people who shot you. 2 figures in particularly ornate armor come forward. One woman armed with a twin-bladed sword, and a male armed with a poleaxe.
I
The
will slowly approach them. I'm not carrying a weapon. I do have my shield and my armor on, but I am not carrying a weapon.
Okay. Yeah, they have their weapons, but they aren't out. Although, debatable. They're on them. They could equip them pretty quickly.
I'll stay
I'm
beside her as she approaches.
I'm
Gotcha.
basically useless with my weapon anyway. It's for show, so we
Gotcha.
might as well just have our hands free.
Have the gesture. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, the man steps forward and says in a deep voice, "The greater clan of Wayrub and lesser clan of Olenquai have claim to these lands. Bring forward your lord, so we may discuss your presence here." He says this first in Giant and then repeats it in Elvish.
I will return in Elvish. If you wish a peaceful discussion, then send your warriors back.
Yeah, he just kind of like looks at you. Let's see. He would glance to the woman beside him, who does step forward and say, "Do you represent the people squatting on the land ahead?"
I
In
am
Elvish.
I think she would say, yeah, she'd say, I am one of the people that live in the town of Mishann, which is behind us. I am a representative, but not its leader.
And yeah, she's just she blinks a few times, kind of taking that in. She seems a little like she's hiding it very well, but she does look a little confused at like now that you've stepped closer, you, Purser, and Ludger all look very strange. And she just says, "If you are not the leader, then I do not know why you came forward. Send your lord forward."
We are some of the protectors of our people here. That is why we are here. It is a bit of a threat. We have innocents and non-combatants in our town, and it is unsettling to say the least that you have brought, she waves at the force arrayed behind them.
Yeah, she doesn't really. She's definitely confused, and she says, "Are you
Um,
with the Are you with the savages? Is that what this is? Have the savages built a place?"
I look who?
The tribes, the tribal folk
No,
south of the river.
no, we're not drow.
uh, Ludger will step forward, kind of, you know, even more lowering his crossbow before he, speaks up in himself. If you wish to meet with our leader, I propose that uh, we have a more equal footing. We will act as, the group before you will act as bodyguards for our leader, and you may choose a similar number of your finest warriors to accompany you. I believe this is the only way that a peaceful discussion can be had.
Okay. She seems to like know how to react to that at least. Like so far, it wasn't deliberate, but you definitely had her on her back foot. Like if you're not tribals, then who the fuck are you? Was sort of the subtext of why you're there. But she at least knows what to do with this, and she gives a curt nod and says, "Yes, uh, this is acceptable. Uh, we will we will meet here. Bring your leadership forward. We will send most of our troops back, besides the 6 that will stay with us."
Sounds reasonable.
Um, I
Bemmy's sliding down whatever rope that's coming down from his treehouse, and he's immediately gonna run to the governess.
Okay.
yeah.
Seeing you, like the one of the soldiers nudges like a soldier next to him and kind of like gestures towards Bemmy with his head before there's like a furious hiss behind him and he like goes ramrod straight again.
Did what was okay? So did they say anything, or was it just like shh?
No, it was from the soldiers, like not from either of the two people in front of you. One of the soldiers, like,
It's like a
you know,
don't rock the boat, man.
yeah, yeah. Like one of the soldiers saw a what looks like kind of at least similar to a tribal drow slide down. It's like, see, Meanwhile, some non-con behind him, shut the fuck up, like that type of
Benny,
thing.
does Benny have the tattoos? I don't remember.
He
Nope.
doesn't. But at least
Okay.
he's a drow. They know what to do
Yeah.
with that. Like, but yeah, there's like the with a very smart like just turning around her dramatic ornate cloak swirling behind her, the drow woman who if she was human you would guess in her 20s maybe, but drow, so but the male next to her definitely is like has the withered and pretty heavily scarred features of an older individual. You'd say maybe 50s if he was human. They both retreat back enough and basically, start speaking with the forces, and most of them turn around and march back, as they said, out of sight into the jungle, leaving only 6, which they seem to have split into some with bows, some with those strange double-bladed swords, and some with heavy shield and short sword.
Yeah, I can respect a dramatic flourish and exit.
Yeah, she didn't go very far for this dramatic flourish and exit, but you get the feeling maybe she's just used to being a pretty dramatic woman.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine doing the
The
dramatic.
drama queen in me recognizes and respects the drama queen in you.
Yeah. That's the dramatic exit, only to like stop 30 feet away and not like stand behind a bush.
Nothing quite that off, but yeah, there's definitely a like she seems like she's getting her balance back, but of the things they expected to have when they were marching into here, they were not expecting a bunch of like weird like non-drow humanoids. Non-drow, non-bug people. So
Not only non-drow, but also non-homogenous.
yeah, like yeah, they can't, and there's no signifier of rank. Like none of you said, "Oh, I'm the so and so." You gave names, I think, but like you didn't. Nobody said, "Oh, I'm the so and so." You just said we're protectors of it. So they don't even have a rank system to try and latch onto.
To be fair, I would have if I wasn't pretending to not understand Elvish.
I get you. I'm just saying, like that's they were really thrown off. But Bemmy, are you pacing yourself? You don't want to risk winding, or are you
Oh,
just flat out
I
like
am.
sprinting?
I'm casting a spell
Ah, okay.
to get this done fast. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm gonna burn a 1 level spell slot, and I'll do Zephyr Strike. Boop,
Yeah,
'cause
I
that'll
would say
double
with
my
that, there's
speed.
no need for a check. Your legs just chew up that ground, and you're able to get to the defended point pretty quick, and get the governess. And she insists on bringing the guard captain with her, just because like that's kind of who has handled security for Mishann, and
Mhm.
Rosalind as well, who like has a hard time keeping up, but she's surprisingly fit. Like you've seen her doing calisthenics and such, so in like a very Victorian, you know, um, lady of adventure type way. But yeah, I would say it's like about 45 minutes with Bemmy really booking it and hurrying people through this like pitch black jungle now. So you're leading them. They have some Everbright lanterns out. It's really lucky for them they have you with them, Benny, because otherwise they would get lost trying to find this spot.
And that's why I went. That's what.
Yeah. Realistically, Pick could lead them too, but I feel like Pick would lose them and not realize it because she's just like she completely bypasses the difficult terrain so easily.
Yeah, she
You are
does it.
so
It's like
slow.
when Purser was herding the cows and she's watching him and she's like, I don't understand how they're so bad at this, but it would be mean to say something.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
In the-
you're able. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you're able to get back. Like I said, it's about a 45-minute wait of you guys just like sitting, not quite staring at each other, but there's that like an awkward silence of they don't seem inclined to break it. And I don't know if any of you guys fight.
Yeah, Purser will just remain directly next to Stiltalis at all times. Just
Okay.
angrily, like, affixing a stare at them, letting them know that, yeah, you're not getting through me.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna say Ludger is almost going to, seeing that he's not completely lowering his guard, but Ludger's kind of more thinking about, okay, if there's going to be a meeting here for like, let's try to make this not just a random spot in the middle of a jungle. Like, I know it's outside Bemi's house, but I would say like starts kind of clearing the area, kind of making it a bit more presentable
You could go
for
up
the
and get
diplomatic
some of the
meeting.
chairs from Bemi's house if like Bemi definitely
I
has
would
chairs.
say I would say that maybe like light a little fire, like basically try to make this as nice of a diplomatic meeting spot as humanly possible, given the time he has, given that again he's done diplomatic duty before, so he kind of realizes that kind of setting the mood for a talk is as important as the talk itself.
Yeah, that's fair. And like, not to mention they're not biting you, and none of the drow seem to be like letting themselves react, but the bugs are getting pretty rough at this point. So some smoke probably wouldn't hurt. Um, and honestly, I will say, Purser, it is really fucking cool, and you now have yourself a good source of light just on you
I am really
with that
fucking
light.
cool, aren't I?
But that amulet, there's a lot of pretty sizable moths and other insects that have started haloing you.
So, I'm happy
I
to incinerate anything that comes close as a show of strength.
do
Okay.
you have does prestidigitation, can you make like wind blow? Because that'll keep them away.
I don't think
Oh
so.
no, you
It
can
could-
make things smell like a citronella candle.
It could do that. I don't have that spell.
Oh.
I will incinerate any bug that isn't Pick that comes close to me.
Or her friends. Okay, fair enough.
To be fair, if one of Pick's people like just comes screaming at me out of the woods, I might incinerate them by mistake.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Uh,
And yet we're giving the drow shit for doing that.
I mean, to be fair,
Well,
only Pick was giving the drow shit for doing.
As
Yep.
far as Purser is concerned, they attacked her with no warning, and they are
Yeah.
here to attack the town.
Yeah.
This is
I mean,
what he was born to do. is
exactly.
protect.
Protect against heathens. But yeah. So the smoke kind of wafts over the area and does dispel some of the growing cloud of incredibly hungry blood-sucking insects. And at this point, like Bemi, do you tell them when you're getting close to your place, or is it just like we gotta go, just hurrying them along?
Oh no, I would tell them when we're getting close.
Okay, good, yeah, good, because the governess does sort of like make you stop, or at least make the other two stop, and like do her best to compose herself so she's not wheezing like incredibly sweaty and exhausted as she goes into a diplomatic meeting with unknown people.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's understandable.
The guard captain isn't too bad. She's sweating, but that's just working out. But the of the three, the governess is in the worst shape. She does need a
Um,
minute.
I would also say, while that's all happening, um, Siltalis, do you have a dark vision? I don't remember.
No,
Okay,
I
in
know.
that case, I would say after I've done my best to kind of spruce things up, kind of, I won't say turn the reins over because she already kind of has things in hands, but I would move using my own dark vision a little bit to the south of Bemi's house, so I can kind of meet with the oncoming diplomatic party and kind of brief them on a like as much as to pretty much no offense to Bemi, someone who's a bit more familiar with diplomacy to kind of so if they're not showing up and doing like who the fuck are these random people sort of
Yeah,
thing.
that's
So
that's.
If
I
you
mean,
think you're hurting Bemi's feelings, you're not.
eh,
It's okay.
I yeah. I mean, you don't have to give me exact words, but did Bemi try to explain, or was it just like we gotta go now?
I guess you said after running. Okay, there's 60 strong up near my house. Look or talk to them, okay? And they're gonna leave some guards there, but we gonna be your guards. But they want to talk to you as to why we got a town here. They ain't good. I think it's those people that was flying in the air, but they're here now and they want to talk to you.
Okay, that's pretty coherent. Like, yeah, they're able to. She gets the gist of that. Um, and yeah, so like they go into it with like, okay, it's Drow. Probably we don't know why there's beef with the Drow, but there's Drow here. Okay. So yeah, the governess, the guard captain, and Roslyn kind of come out, and yeah, Roslyn is, or the excuse me, the governess will clear her throat and like look at the like I won't say staring contest, but awkward, tense silence, and say, well, greetings. I am Governess uh, Magdalora Urthavar. These are my two advisors, Professor Roslyn Urostrin and Guard Captain Theda Raglan. Um, and this group here uh, are some of Mishann's greatest current defenders. She gestures towards all of you. The
Does she
Drow,
speak Elven or Giant?
she is actually speaking in Elven because she is half Elven.
Okay, got it.
I will note for future reference that Comprehend Languages has ended by now, and
Mhm.
with my angry guarding, I didn't have time to recast it. So Purser
I'll
is.
translate for him.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not super important. Like,
Yeah. You could
just
have
let me
psychic
know if like.
translation. Yeah.
Yeah, you can have a mental translation, and then Pick can do everything else.
All the psychic.
All the psychic.
Uh, but yeah, the Drow man that had originally that came forward with this noble looking young woman kind of blinks a little bit at the foreign names, and um, the woman steps forward and says, I am High Lady Eros Que Weyrub. This is Lord Adron Lamal Olenquai. And as I said, we are here to claim the ruin to the south of here for our people. And I will put the names up. Actually, one sec, I'll put pictures up. We want to go Mishann, images, PCs, Drow. Um, yeah. The governess, kind of nods slowly to show that she understands that. As the guard captain does bristle a little bit, she says, "Well, I apologize, but we were promised by Kaxar, the chieftain of the Spring Blossoms tribe, that these ruins were uninhabited before we arrived, and thus free for us to settle." Um, the the drow man gives a short laugh, and the woman covers her mouth with her hand. "That is unfortunate. You were dealing with the savage tribal folk south of the river. They make a great many claims about territory, but make no mistake, they have no real authority on the island. We Soltar clans of Alancasp are the real rulers of these lands. We are not unreasonable, but we have dire need of this place. So I must insist that." And she stops mid-sentence when the older fellow, who was kind of looking, he'd leaned back a little bit to look at you guys. He leans over slightly and whispers something in her ear. She gives him a shocked look for a moment before continuing. "Lord Alenquai has reminded me that we should not eject the first real foreign folk from our island so suddenly. The ruins are quite large. We would be willing to discuss the situation further." And she gestures towards the chairs that were set up. She still hadn't sat down, but the governess does sit down. Bemi, you notice it had taken a lot of work to get those seats there, and you got all 6 of them. You were Actually, you know what? I would say, Bemi, you would have 6 full chairs and 5 small chairs for various reasons. You would have gone to get. Ludger it would be easier to bring the stools down. Did you get the stools, or was it all high back chairs that you got?
High back chairs because it's
Diplomatic.
it
No, I just
called
wanted
for it.
to double check. And I'm assuming a lot, but I feel like Bemi might have gotten enough to make sure that even if the whole group came, that Siltalis' sisters could all come too. So just on the off chance that Uh, but
Fair.
yeah. Let's see. The governor sits down and says, "This is not the circumstances that I would normally aim for a diplomatic meeting. This is obviously not up to Sire standards, but we hope to eventually have it there." And Lady Wayrub nods slightly, kind of looking at the chairs, and says, "It is no trouble. Is that where all of you are from, then? A realm called Sire?" The governess nods and says, "Yes, we're looking to build something here that can eventually get close to the beauty and power of our homeland." Lady Wayrub glances at Lord Olenquai, who almost imperceptibly shakes his head and says, I see. The clans of Alamkus, while powerful, are somewhat isolated from the greater world. Are you from the mainland?" The governess at this point kind of glances back at you guys. "Not quite. Perhaps my defenders could explain better." And do you guys want to give it a go at explaining,
Do we have a world map?
yeah, I mean, in character you do. I don't know if you have it on you. It's up to you.
I
I do
mean,
not.
I would
I
say even if
will.
we didn't, we could draw a
Yeah,
map of the world, fucking Shogun style.
I was gonna say
Uh,
she pulls out a. She pats her pack and pulls out a parchment paper, and she'll draw the rough outline of the island,
Mhm.
Zendrick, Aranel, and Corvair.
Okay,
And
fair
she
enough.
points at the island and she says, "We're here now." this is where we are. And then she points at Corvair and says, that's where we're from, across the sea.
And yeah, like there's not any real skepticism in it, but there's a little bit of like confusion. Um, why are you here?
Sorry,
No, you're good.
large channel.
Our homeland was destroyed. We are looking for a new one.
Yeah, her face, like she'd been looking more and more nervous, but at that she seems to relax a little bit. Hmm. Very well. You are from a foreign land truly far away. Uh, how many of you are there? Our scout got a fairly low number.
Many survivors of the tragedy have been invited and are on their way.
What is many?
Do we have like a rough estimate?
Had a
Like
few.
Um,
legitimately, Corvair, whatever. Our homeland
mhm.
had probably millions of people, most of whom died, I'm sure.
The pre-morning population was about 1.5 million.
Okay. And most of those probably died in the morning.
A
Died or
good chunk of them,
disappeared.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually, let's see here, where is it? Here we go, 77.
Ah, I have a count here that says 20,000.
There you go. That's yeah, you could say that whether all of the mourners will come or not, but yeah, here
Yeah,
it is. It's
I think what she'll say is all survivors were invited. We estimate something around 20,000. That doesn't mean that all of them will come. Many will have found different lives in the other parts of our home, the the other parts of this place, because she kind of outlines the middle part of the continent where Kyrie is,
mhm.
and they may have found a different life, and may not want to come here. But
Okay.
this was promised to us as a place to possibly rebuild.
Yeah, she kind of nods and glances at the Lord next to her and says, "So you have large numbers, but they are not here yet."
No.
And she seems to kind of like look between all of you and then at the governess and the two advisors next to her. Since you have been honest, I will reply in kind. Clan Wayrub and Clan Olenquai are currently fleeing Alam Cusp and its forces. They seek our destruction, and we were forced to abandon our ancestral strongholds and lands. We're hoping to make use of some of the things that were left in the ruins by the honored ancients to create a new, more secure home. But our own numbers have grown thin after the plague. If you are truly tied to a larger force, perhaps we could make an alliance.
I
Uh, the,
think for just an instant, a bit of disappointment flits across Satalis' face because he is very tired of war,
yeah,
but also
that's
understands that this is kind of an inevitability at this point.
Um, Ludger would take a moment to quietly whisper to the governess, uh, pretty much something on the lines of like, uh, do keep in mind our relations with the southern tribes. Basically, kind of like not like kind of advising her to take her time on making a final commitment on us, if that makes any sense.
okay. Does anybody else have anything they want to do before the governess replies?
How many people are you seeking refuge? How many people are fleeing?
We have roughly 500. We were forced to abandon our servants and others.
I think while the governess is thinking it over, I don't think she'd say this delicately. We do not condone slavery in any form.
She just cocks an eyebrow and seems confused. It's like saying you don't condone sewage treatment, but doesn't say anything to that.
And our people would react violently if such things were attempted on them.
Well, allies, barring breaking of taboos or laws, wouldn't be subject to such things, of course. And yeah, the government is like doesn't react at first. She's just kind of like listening to you guys, listening to the drow over. She's just had steepled fingers. She just says, "That is an interesting proposal, High Lady Wayrub. Would you mind terribly waiting here for a moment while I discuss the matter with my advisors?" And Lady Wayrub kind of leans back and gives an imperious gesture with her hand. And yeah, like getting up from the seat, the governess steps back about 20, 30 feet, still within light of the fire, but far enough away that it's harder to overhear. As you guys move back, you see Wayrub murmuring something to the lord next to her. And the governess looks at all of you and says, "I never expected this. An influx of natives who are also refugees, and they're fleeing from the city that we weren't even sure was properly inhabited. Do we want to get
And
involved in what could be another war?"
Ludger will lead off. First things first. Yeah. What would her proper honorific be? Your lady.
Lady, just
Or
lady's fine.
yeah. First things first, my lady. One of the crucial aspects is, we should, before we make any final decision, we need to send a runner or a small team to the northernmost southern tribe, and we need to run this clan's name, the Wayrub clan, and the like, past them. Uh, uh, you know, for ultimately, we should, we have no real intimate diplomatic knowledge of the various relationships between various clans and tribes. And for all we know, we could be letting in a group that has violent vendettas out against them with some of our current existing trading partners. Thus, any final decision should wait before we, at the very least, get the information from the northernmost tribe.
I would
My
also
right. Go ahead.
I would add that we don't know why we don't really fully understand why why these people are fighting with the tribe south of us, and it could be an opportunity to build a bridge between the two and us. I'm not opposed, especially given we probably can't stand up to 60 of their fighters right now. But I also can contact the leader right now and ask them to send somebody immediately, which would probably speed the process up.
So Purser will like shake his head, and I'm inclined to believe that this is a trick of some kind, but that's no reason to turn them away. We should close our fists upon them even tighter, take everything we can, and learn everything that they know.
Milady, additionally, do not forget that we have a portal leading to a land that is far, far away from the pursuers. That could be another angle to this, where we may take in some of them or none of them, and send others to exile, shall we say, in Corvair, where we would no longer be hosting uh, the enemy of uh, the people pursuing them. And one final thing, Milady, is in my past dealings with elves, it is yeah, it is often quite easy to use their long-lived status as a way to ask for more time when it comes to diplomatic decision making. So, as long as we appeal to their long-lived nature, we should be able to ask for more time to make a decision. Perhaps not indefinitely, but that should allow us to delay any final decision until, at the very least, hopefully, we can get an answer from our sovereign tribal allies.
And yeah, the captain chimes in. She just frowns. She says, I don't know. After the last 5 years, I hate to turn down anyone who's had to leave their home. But this is supposed to be a new sire. Even if we help them fight off this Alam Kus place, what's to keep them from turning around and trying to make us act like drow or slaves or something once there's enough of them? And did anybody else have anything? Pick,
Nope. Purser said his piece.
Pick or Benny?
Can I do like a history? Do I like of what I know of these people? And I probably don't pay a ton of attention to their history, but just like what have they done in the past? Because they're not nice.
No, they're not. Yeah, go ahead and give me a history check. This will probably be recent history, but um,
I got no idea, man.
yeah, they're not nice, and it's kind of hard to get past how rude they were earlier. If you're being
Perfectly honest. Yeah, she's got the pick rage. She's like, that was
this is bullshit.
unacceptable behavior. That was unacceptable behavior.
Bemmy?
I mean, he's just trying to get a home away from home. Yeah, he doesn't want anybody to go to war, but
They did
more.
call you a savage multiple times.
Yeah, but they don't know me.
Aw.
Mm,
I
I don't want it, but I'll fight if I got it.
yeah, I don't want to, but first of all, they're in a similar situation to most of us. They've been driven from their home. Second, I honestly am not sure that we could stand up to them. They have a full fighting force. We have, what, a dozen seasoned fighters? If that.
Nice if you could mix. Maybe they leave slavery behind and you pick up how to live in jungle more efficiently. It would be good trade. You could make friends. They need new start. You need new start.
I need to stop putting in punji pits around my tree house.
They won't like that.
Yeah. Rosalind, for her part, she's been quiet, kind of just like occasionally peering over. She's the only one who's had like seemed mildly excited about all this because it's like a group of drow she's had no contact with before now. So she says, Well, the problem here is we just don't have enough information. I've read papers about the elusive Sultar on the mainland of Zendrik, and the Volkori tribes say that they were, said that they were on the northern half of the island, and by all accounts, they're very insular, hostile to the tribals whom they raid. But I'd bet the Volcorodal tribes have raided them back plenty in their shared history. In fact, the adventurers that first found this portal reported an entire tribe's worth of dead drow around it. Given that Chieftain Kaxar insisted that none of the Volcoral lived beyond the river, they may have been tribes that worked with the Sultar, selling captured members of other tribes and such. That's typically the pattern with groups like this. There's intermediaries. It would make sense that they wouldn't exactly be mourned by the other tribals, but this does seem like we don't have enough information.
I think
Keep in mind,
asking
Rosalind also like almost starved to death trying to like accidentally let out a demon. So, yeah.
uh, I think that asking for additional time is not unreasonable. I don't think that we should try to escalate this because based on what I know of who currently lives here, we would have to retreat. Like, she's speaking from a practicality standpoint.
Yeah,
She
yeah, no, that makes
frankly does
sense.
not think we can win a fight against these people. So inciting them is a bad idea.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Um, and she says I can contact the tribe of she can she has sending. She can ask somebody, send a
Yeah,
representative. We have
Kaxar, you could contact him now. Yeah.
yeah, like legitimately, that's what she explained. She's like, I can contact Kaxar right now and ask him to send either come himself or send a representative immediately, and they could be here and probably faster than we could
2 days.
go
It's
there.
about a 2-day journey on the river.
Yeah, she says he could be here in 2 days.
I fear that might be too much of a wait. If the enmity between the groups is as extreme as we suspect, their advice isn't going to help us in this matter. We know what they're going to say.
I mean, you could say, tell me what of these, if there's more, come visit type thing. Like with a sending, see if he can get out what he thinks in 25 words. That type of thing. Sending is a good solution here. I hadn't thought of, which I love.
Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and do the sending. Unless I am tasked with specific wording, I will do the sending to
No, no, no.
Kaxar.
You don't have to count the words as long as it's the general gist.
Basically, she says tribe, Wayrub, and tribe. No, they call
Clan.
themselves clan. Clan Wayrub and clan Olo Olon whatever. However the fuck you say it. She's probably better at it than I am. Because she can speak Elven. Uh, are fleeing whoever. And have asked. No, she would have. It's not asked. I don't know what word she'd use, but it's not asked.
Requested? I don't
Requested,
know.
strongly requested
Yeah.
to settle where Mishann
Pressing
is,
us for refuge.
pressing us for refuge.
I mean that they didn't say refuge. They said they have claim to the lands that we're currently on.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to communicate this as tersely as possible.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Basically, she says Clan Wayrub and Olanquai are pressing Mishann for claim to the land. They're fleeing whoever they're fleeing. Um, they're fleeing LM Cusp. Um, and are not opposed to a truce with Mishann. Please advise, and if we need to have a more in-depth discussion, please send a representative.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like you could get that across. Um, yeah, there's a pause, and at first you're like, did it not go through? And then you hear the like the not super friendly tone of Kaxar. Um, he says, Soltaire are, well, I would say he wouldn't say scum, he would say filth. There we go. And he would say that they are filth. Wayrub and Olenquai are also filth. The Wayrub, head of Wayrub, led Southern Campaign. But if infighting, if infighting and weaken Alam Cusp, good. That's all he says. We will, and oh, he would say, we will send, we can send a copper leaf vine for rope if you need further assistance with them.
Oh boy. I'll relay the message. I'm just a messenger at this point, guys.
They don't get along.
I mean, from what
He was surprisingly open. Like he didn't seem hostile to the idea of like, oh, their
I was
city
about to
state's
say,
collapsing. Great, fuck them. That was his general thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's just kind of like,
as I was say, the main thing isn't, oh, are these two clans best buddies with them? It's, is taking them in going to cause diplomatic outrage and like lose all support to our currently existing allies. That was
Right.
Luger's whole thing. He
Yeah.
knew they didn't like each other, but
Yeah.
the
like,
main
was
thing
that the
is, can we?
sense? Was that the sense that I got? Like, if we parlay, are the southern tribes going to be like, "Fuck you"?
Probably not. He like at least on an official level. Like so remember they're not like a nation. They're tribal. So like he can speak for the tribe on major things, but if individuals decide, oh, we don't like them because they're working, that that's their purview. But he's not. It didn't sound like he's condemning you for the idea of working with them because you heard them let slip. Everybody had to trade with them, even if it was through intermediaries. Like that's the only way to get certain stuff on the islands. So
Mhm.
he's probably not going to cut off diplomatic ties, I guess, to answer the question.
I
I
hate
will
to
pass
say
that.
that I suggested this would be the case, but
I don't know how else to finish that sentence.
I will provide the additional insight of probably wouldn't ruin our relationship, but I don't think they'll be particularly pleased.
Yep.
I don't know what to do because I am as tired of war as everyone else here,
Purser's not
but
that tired of it, I don't think.
they are refugees.
no, Purser's young.
Purser is about the same age as Satalis. The problem is Purser was not an orphan in the war, was not made an
What?
orphan in the
What?
war.
What?
Were you an orphan
He's
in the
literally an
war
orphan.
Yeah, that's why
because
the
of the
church took him
war?
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
He was
Yeah.
raised in a
Then why
Polish
the fuck are you
orphanage.
like war?
Because I'm not.
He said, "What is it
Because
good for?"
he's only opposed to war. I mean, he's opposed to war when it's against people, not heretics.
Oh
Yeah,
Jesus.
exactly.
Jokes
So,
aside,
yeah,
he's never been like supporting of it. He's just like the church has bigger things to worry about than petty international politics.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's literally their whole shtick. Their official excuse for doing quote unquote invasions was they were like, hey, yeah, we took that fort, but you notice it wasn't very tactical. We did it because we were cutting across territory to get to like demon seals that were unraveling. You're welcome.
And
Which other
some of the
nations
time they
didn't
weren't
like.
lying.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one of those things. It didn't. It made them very few friends.
Hmm.
But
in any case, yeah, Purser's he wasn't impacted as much by the war as like a lot of people, so he's more open to aggressive negotiation. As he said before, squeeze them for everything they're worth.
And you get the feeling
Ensure
part
that they
of
aren't a threat.
yeah, you get the feeling part of why they're like their starting stances. This is our land. Get off. Is it's an insular city-state on like an island, the equivalent of Madagascar, on a cursed continent that hasn't had outside contact with people for who the fuck knows how long. Like they're so far the other people they've met have been like people living in tribal societies or like that's it. They haven't met with any other like quote unquote civilized people, at least from their perspective. So they're really not sure how to address you guys. You are a very alien experience.
There is another angle I just thought of that Purser could be concerned about.
There you go.
I just mentioned the petty politics and greater concerns. This is their territory. There was a powerful demon imprisoned here. It's their fault if they claim right to it.
No, it's not. It's the giant's fault. These are giant ruins.
Yeah. Purser's stance remains unchanged.
Yeah, no, like it's
They're claiming they wanted heretical artifacts, therefore heretics.
yeah, I mean it's
I
but
wonder if
anyways,
their stance would, like, out of character, I wonder if their stance would change if we told them, yeah, we broke the gun. It's broken. It's gone.
who said they knew about the gun? Who said that?
They obliquely mentioned it.
Yeah.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So
We
um,
broke it. Sorry.
yeah. I'm fine if you guys don't want to make a decision quite yet. This could be a like you decide over the week, or you could tell them something
Yeah.
now. But we are coming up on the
I
official
think we
close time.
my sense of it all is we're kind of all up for a we need to think about it kind of situation. Um, can you take us to the island map,
I
please?
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Ludger would also point out that, like, if if we take these people in, we are also probably going to have to negotiate with whoever comes behind them. And again, all options on the table of basically one, we have a portal, so we could either send some or all of them through to Corvair, where if, depending on what the people chasing him want, because it could just be a get the fuck off the island, or it could be something worse. Which again, if people come behind us and they pretty much want them to get the fuck off the island, that's an easy problem to fix. Even without turning them over, it's well, they're now on a different continent. They're not coming back. So mission accomplished.
Yeah, you could do that.
That, and we could pretty much like figure out a way to like. Of course, we're not going to say that we broke it yet, but we could pretty much, definitely play up a. But we want to focus our entire diplomatic thing around the portal of a. We can pretty much go like, yep, we could summon reinforcements and be in a much stronger position, and also pretty much casually mention that we know about Shagohod and hint that we might be able to use it again to strengthen our position in case either this group or the people chasing them wants to try anything funny while we, actually shore up our real world position as best we can.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like at least right now, in character, you guys are leaning towards the buy some time, delay, however long we can.
I buy some time delay. We want to know more about like we need to. They gave us. We got chased out of the city. Why? I
Yeah.
would like to know why, if possible. But yeah,
We
like the general consensus is we want to delay, at least as far as I can tell, we want to delay and try and learn their situation because that will probably help us make a decision.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, if that's the governess is gonna she accepts that reasoning. She does. It's not something she finds offensive. Like if you guys had said we need to just turn it over and become their slaves, she might object. But it's a sane reasoning. She doesn't have. She was unprepared for this, so she's willing to go with it. She basically says, we would prefer to, if possible, we would prefer to um, discuss this a bit further and I guess she would, if you guys mention it, she would say, reach out to our own allies and make sure that this will not infringe upon any alliances we already have. Um, Neither drow looks thrilled at this, but they don't burst out in anger or anything, at least. Lady Wayrib just says, "We will wait, but be warned, we cannot wait long. Alamcusp has sent forces after us, and it is only a matter of time till they arrive. After that point, the decision will be made one way or another."
Um, we absolutely do not. I don't want to do it now because I have to do some stuff.
Yeah, I know.
But I would like to ask if she's willing, and if they're both willing. I think Sultalis will offer to stay here and discuss with them. Like if they're willing to tell me what happened and be truthful, Sultalis will stay here while the governess goes back to Mishann.
Okay. Yeah, so that's where we'll pick up with at least Siltalis staying behind and wanting to try and pick the drow brains more.
Ludger will stay behind as well because, again, he was a former diplomatic officer. So,
Yeah.
Got the
Did
peace
anybody else?
cleric and the diplomat. Yes.
Yeah.
No?
I mean, Bemmy's just, man, this is a mess.
It's just
It's a
heavy.
mess.
I just wanted a simple life, hunting and building a town, but no.
why's it got to be my house? That
Why'd you get that? That's right.
That's fair. That's fair. Cool. All right. Well, I fully encourage if anybody has anything in character or like out of character, just use the general. If it's in character, like you want to, pull so and so aside and chat, just use the bivouac channel, and just you can chat with each other in that
Yeah,
to discuss stuff
yeah.
further. But I will end it there
Um,
because I appreciate everybody going a little late as it is.
yep.
Alrighty.